Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Higurashi. I haven't read this visual novel before or seen the anime. There's been two animes of this? One was a remake, obviously. I've heard nothing but good things about both the anime and this series, so I'm really looking forward to playing this visual novel and finding out how it really is. Without further ado, let's get started with Higurashi When They Cry. This is the first in a series of games. I'd like to do it as, ooh, that was an ominous click. That was not a happy click. Alright, welcome to the world of Higurashi. The Onikakushi arc will be the opening inviting you to this world. Don't play tough. Please just enjoy life in Hinamizawa to the fullest. The difficulty is extremely high, but I hope you'll enjoy the reward. They're literally warning me that it's difficult and don't play tough. Don't play on hard. When a game tells you not to play on hard, they usually mean it. Alright, so it says tough. I'd like to click tough, but we're not supposed to play on tough. Please do not lament. I will forgive you even if the world will not forgive you. Do not lament. I will forgive you even if you will not forgive the world. So tell me, what will it take for you to forgive me? Frederica Berncastel. And there's some other language that is not English there. Probably a fictitious one. This is a work of fiction. Any resemblance to actual persons or organizations is entirely coincidental. 1983, early summer of the 58th year of the Showa era. If I was going to be ripped apart anyway, having my body ripped apart would have been far better. I trusted her. No, I still trust her. Even in this very moment, I trust her. It's actually auto-proceeding, by the way. I'm starting to realize I only wanted to trust her because I refuse to accept the truth. It was as if I was trying to convince myself in such a silly, sobbing voice. That mechanical, repetitious sound finally stilled and everything fell silent. Is it actually auto-proceeding or is this a video? I'm curious. Only the cry of the cicadas remained annoyingly loud, and yet I felt as if I could still hear her voice. But that's not possible. Their backgrounds are like crazy blurry. Damn. She's no longer speaking. Was she dead or mute? The only one crying is me. Well, the title is When They Cry. She never cried. Even when she repeated those words over and over, she never expressed any emotion because there was none to show. If she had no tears to shed for me, then I shouldn't need to shed any for her. This is an interesting intro. Then why this pain? My eyes getting moist? Why was this happening? I still wanted to believe I hadn't been split apart. Like, was your heart broken? It sounds like your heart was broken. That's enough, right? Inside me, an inner voice whispered gently. My spirit had suffered enough. And countless times I'd wavered over whether I should just throw the battered thing away. Except I've stubbornly refused to do that, haven't I? Your relationship? Your heart? Like, what are we throwing aside? I'd feel better if I just threw it away. Your memories of a friend? Even knowing that, I chose to believe, didn't I? Only I can understand that painful struggle and appreciate it. Hey, me? I've tried more than enough. I'll acknowledge that much. And so? Isn't it alright to just take the easy way out? Besides, I'm not throwing it away. Can I? Nope. Right click doesn't do anything here. I'm leaving it behind with her. Like flowers by a grave. Like flowers by a grave. Now then. Calm your nerves. Even though you can't feel your right arm, just lift it up. Are we in and with every swing forget a little more, are we like in kendo? That kindness made me happy. That adorable smile brought me joy. I still haven't touched the keyboard or the mouse yet. Yeah, you can play sounds all you'd like. I liked petting your head. I loved how demure you were. Because this will be the last time. When I swing this down, I'll forget. This is my first and last bouquet for you. Interesting. Perhaps I really did love you. Higurashi when they cry. Welcome to Hinamizawa. Okay, I got questions. We definitely have a visual novel interface now. This game is unfortunately stuck in 4x3, even if it's full screened. If it's full screened up, well, it looks exactly like this, and if it's anything smaller, it looks tiny. All it does is scale it up. Unfortunate, the port doesn't go to 4.3, but hey, it is what it is. Somebody's been apologizing for a while now, so who's apologizing? I want to get back to that last scene, though. That was curious. An interesting hook. I don't know if the person's dead. I don't know if the person's dead, they're executing them, or like what's going on there. But it's very interesting, and we do finally have a log again. It's been a while. Danganronpa 3, no log. Possibly because in a few of the scenes, they directly reference stuff and characters were lying about what they said previously. So being able to use a log lets you see if there's a lie. But it's good to have it back and to be able to scroll and be like, did they actually just say that? They didn't just actually say that. It was so weird the first time during Danganronpa 3 not being able to scroll back in the log. But hey, I'm not complaining, and I wasn't really complaining too much about it then because it made sense. So who's been apologizing? I wonder what she's apologizing for. She, interesting, okay. It felt wrong to eavesdrop, so I tried to ignore it. It had been a while since I last went to the city. I only returned to attend the funeral of a relative. Even though I'd lived there until last month, I found the bustle of the city to be overwhelming. Interesting. Okay. So they're not a person who likes the city? They like rural areas. Well, I don't quite agree with them. I don't even like being around that many people, but I do like cities more than I like rural areas. The skyscrapers and multi-lane roads, but those are like the best part. The melodious cacophony of the crosswalk. Even the campaign speeches blaring in front of the station felt nostalgic. Okay, I'm not familiar with that last one. That must be a Japanese thing. The place where I live now isn't nearly as lively. There's only the chirping of locusts and the babbling of brooks. I bet you the internet's shit there. And the cry of the Higurashi. The evening cicadas. Alright. Higurashi are evening cicadas. Today I learned something. Rather than making me feel lonely, that quietness has begun to instill a sense of serenity. There's nothing where I'm living now. You can relax. The nice thing is that you can just sit down and relax. I don't mean there aren't any burger joints. There aren't even vending machines. No music stores, no restaurants. And no arcades. Even an ice cream parlor would be unlikely. The nearest town has some stuff like that, but it's an hour away by bike. Come to think of it, it wasn't really a big deal. There were music stores and arcades and ice cream parlors, but it wasn't like I ever hung out at any of them. I lived in the city for 10 years and never once even went to an ice cream parlor. Have I gone to an ice cream parlor in the last 10 years? Yes. I had to think about that, though. It's been like 4.5. I should have gone at least once. It's only now that I'm starting to regret that a little. Well, that's what you can do on your trip to the city, right? You can enjoy things. If you're like, I love living in the countryside, but I miss a couple things, well, if there's only a couple things you like and there are things that you can do while visiting, go for it, man. Somebody's still apologizing. Who is she apologizing to? She's apologized so much. Just forgive her already. There's no reason anyone should ever need to apologize that much. I started to feel a bit annoyed at whoever was refusing to forgive her. No matter how bad the mistake, there's nothing that can't be forgiven. I mean, do you want me to come up with with some things that are like incredibly unlikely to be forgiven? Because I can come up with a couple, guys. Like, it's not that hard. Coming up with things that you probably wouldn't forgive someone for are pretty straightforward. Like most people would even argue that like cheating on your significant other is probably an unforgivable action, and you're not gonna get together with them again. Most. I say most because I know some people do. Damn, now I kind of want ice cream. I just bought groceries, but I kind of want to buy some ice cream now. I feel like that's what I do these days instead of going to like an ice cream store. Although getting served a cone of ice cream is nice. I should check if there's like a gelato place around here. Since you can't really buy gelato in the grocery store, but you can definitely buy ice cream. No such thing as an irreparable mistake. Murder. Can you resurrect the dead? You need to be more careful next time. No, I'm pretty sure you can't fix someone being dead. It's really hard, at least. She's still apologizing even now. Has she really done something that can't be fixed? You have no idea what she's done, but if it can't be fixed, then all the more reason to forgive her. No matter how much she apologizes, nothing will change. Even though she keeps apologizing in such a heartbreaking voice. Again, if you kill if you kill my friend, I'm probably not going to forgive you, even if you apologize. Even though there's nothing you can do about the fact that they're dead. It's like, you stabbed him to death, you stabbed him 47 times and laughed while he bled out. You really want, like, forgiveness? Then again, maybe it's just something annoying. Hey you, the one she's apologizing to. Why don't you go ahead and forgive her? She's apologizing in such a pathetic voice. Keiichi, we're almost there. Wake up. I was finally roused from my nap by my father's prodding. Oh, we were napping. Maybe we were dreaming about that. It seemed the train had reached its final stop. We'd spent hours riding everything from the bullet train to the local routes. It was hard to believe the landscape beyond the window and the city I was in half a day ago were in the same country. You'd be surprised how far you can get in half a day. No, they were even from the same era. He's in the 80s, right? Like, we can see trucks. We can see trucks and vans. I assume they did like a recolor or a redraw over actual pictures for these backgrounds. They look very realistic, but also like someone traced them rather than being made whole cloth. That's usually what people do for these type of backgrounds, right? They'll take a picture or something and maybe like tweak it a little bit. They'll tweak it a bit and possibly redraw over the whole thing. From there, we take the car deeper into the mountains. Several of these look believable enough to have been taken in recently, like a couple years ago. Past where the dense forest encroaching on the mountain road suddenly opened up. Like, I could see this being taken I could probably see this being taken this year. There seems to be like, what, a residential wall here for like the backyard of a house. So like some fencing. Or, it looks like a wall though. Some forest and like a dirt or gravel path. Maybe like a fine gravel path, maybe? Alright. Just keep going further and further and further. There, where I live now. In Amizawa. A nice, lazy, rural town. That's the second time we've seen the title card. I wonder if we'll see it every chapter, since they made every chapter an individual product. I mean, it wouldn't be entirely unexpected, or the worst. But it'd be kind of silly. Even though we were approaching the summer, the morning air still had a frigid bite. Okay, so we're like in April, May, and it's like a cool morning. That sounds nice. I don't mind cool mornings. Cool mornings with like a very comfortable day are like probably the best days. Because the day is not going to be super uncomfortable. And the morning is like slightly uncomfortable, but not so uncomfortable you can't like walk, or you can't go for like a walk or something. You know, maybe you wear like a jacket during in the mornings or at night, but you're like never uncomfortable during the day. In exchange, you could fill your lungs up with crisp, clean air. That's exactly what you like to hear. Flipping open the window, I was greeted with a verdant expanse. Nothing but trees. The neighboring house was far away on the other side, so I was probably the only one enjoying that view and that air. I filled my lungs with another deep breath. Since I started living in Hinamizawa, I learned that even air had its own taste. It's true. It's true. Air has its own taste. If you go from like city to city when you fly, you can definitely smell the difference in air quality when you step outside. And especially if you like drive from like city to basically anywhere outside a city, you'll notice the air quality in cities is still pretty mediocre these days. It's pretty mediocre these days. I mean, it's not like every city's Beijing, but Beijing or India or wait, New Delhi. Though I was like India. No, that's too general. New Delhi. So recall, this New Delhi air does not smell amazing, and I haven't been to Beijing, but everything I've read says that city is pretty bad for your health normally. I believe coronavirus measures and lack of traffic fix that temporarily. You can definitely tell, even if you're leaving like Toronto or Ottawa and going to another city, you can tell that the air is a little bit better. I quickly finished getting ready for school and headed downstairs for breakfast. Or New York. New York's very noticeable. The smell of New York City is very noticeable, so same with Chicago. I quickly finished oh, I already read that. My mother was the only one there. My father nowhere to be seen. Okay, so we're probably a student. Well, we're getting ready for school, so we're obviously a student, but I mean, we're probably in high school and not like a college student or maybe in middle school, because we have we expect our parents to be around. Good to know. So we aren't just traveling with them to the place we live. We're a student. Okay. He's probably working up in the early morning. Working till the early morning. I wonder what he does for a job. Dad has a rather unconventional job as a painter. Chips. Love chips. It's such a laid-back profession. Get up when you want, sleep when you want, and work when you want. The difficulties of doing all that is that you do have to motivate yourself when you want. You can't... I was so jealous of that easygoing lifestyle. Yeah, the problems is, or not a problem, but the restriction is you do actually have to be good at your job. You do have to be good as an artist to make money. You can't just be like, I'm gonna paint stuff and then be useless. You want to raise a family, right? It's actually very hard. Like, you gotta respect the backgrounds, though. Jesus. These backgrounds. I even wrote for school that I wanted to be a painter when I grew up. Dad was ecstatic about it. It was just because it looked easy. I'd never tell him that, though. Yeah, just because it looks easy. I mean, if you have the talent and well, it's not necessarily talent. It's people have to appreciate your art, and you have to be able to, like, get your art to people who like it, I think. Those are either, like, skills or assistance. It's either skills or someone else helping you that's going to get you there. It's like, art's very subjective, so it's not even that art has to be good, it just has to be given to people who appreciate it, or put in front of people who appreciate it. Mom laid breakfast out on the table. Seaweed, pickled vegetable, raw egg, and grilled salmon. That's a breakfast. Raw egg, okay. Raw egg, not my favorite. Grilled salmon. Grilled salmon sounds delicious. Gonna be honest, haven't had salmon for breakfast, but the grilled salmon looks good. I don't know what vegetables, what vegetables have been pickled, but that might be alright. I haven't had seaweed enough to have a super strong opinion on it, so I'm gonna say 1 win, 1 loss, and 2 neutrals. Could be alright. Could be alright. Egg regulations in Japan are very strict. I'm not concerned about the eggs. I know that you can eat raw eggs as, like, part of a diet for, like, when you're, like, being athletic. Eating raw eggs is safe. It's the eating the raw egg that I'm not a big fan of, because I don't like raw eggs. I just don't like the taste. I mean, I don't really like eggs in general that much. But yeah, I'm given to understand that it's pretty common to have to crack open an egg, either to like have an egg with a lot of things, right? You can crack open egg on rice. Yeah, that works. Eggs are pretty safe, and you have lots of eggs with like traditional ramen dishes, right? Ramen typically has like most ramen dishes have like half an egg or something in there. Although that would be like probably hard boiled or soft boiled. Yeah, one of those two. Yeah, I'm not too worried about the egg being unhealthy or not, or like risky for like salmonella. I feel like people are mostly past that. It's the not liking the egg. That's why I'm against it. My mom was such a good cook. It was scary. It said grilled salmon for breakfast. Well, it's a weird thing to have for breakfast. I know they don't actually have breakfast foods in Japan, so I'm gonna say, hell, yeah, I'll take it. Grilled salmon's delicious. A perfect, immaculate, ideal breakfast. I'm just curious what vegetables they have pickled. Like, do you have pickled cucumbers? Or do you pickled radishes? I wonder what vegetable counts as a pickled vegetable that you would actually eat in large quantities. I don't. Most things I eat that are pickled are not something you'd like actually have as a side dish. I mean, I personally think it would be really weird if someone unironically offered me like a third of a plate full of pickles. Like, it's one thing to have like a pickle or two. You know, you put pickles on your burger, and you enjoy it, or you have like a pickle or two as snacks. It must be like pickled, but like actually having like a plate full of pickles would be really weird, right? Like, you're like, oh yeah, I'll have like 7 or 8 pickles. Like, all right, bro. That's a lot of dill in the morning. Unlike Dad, who didn't even know the meaning of the word schedule, my mom never squandered any time or ever. She hummed a little tune as she brought over the miso soup. It seemed like she was in a good mood today. So far we don't know too much about our character, other than we know more about our character's parents than we know about the character. And we know like a little bit about our character, that they like maybe once said they wanted to be like their dad. But it seemed more like it was easy than an actual job. I'm so happy you've been waking up early since we moved here, Keiichi. Keiichi sounds like a male name? If I don't wake up early, I won't have time to eat breakfast. Is this father speaking? I thought I was being cute, responding with a wisecrack after being praised for being good. Who said this? Alright. Full bowl of rice, or will half be enough? Pile it on. First, I savored the steaming hot rice with the seaweed. Oh, there's rice as well. Okay. After that, I covered it with the egg. Okay, so let's see. Hot rice with seaweed. I mean, that sounds good. I don't have any. That sounds good. Covering with the egg seems like a typical meal. Between bites of rice, I enjoyed the crunch of the pickles. Not bad at all. They were pickles. They were pickles. They were pickles. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I wouldn't like. I don't like. I like pickles. I have a jar. I buy myself jars of pickles and go through them. Okay, like I like pickles. I like lots of different flavors of pickles. I'm not sure I could actually eat pickles for breakfast. Not bad at all. Excellent as usual. Watching me clean my plate, my mom gave me a warm smile. I'm going to assume it's something else that I haven't had pickled. As you can preserve a lot of things via pickling. It's a process, right? It's just a process of storing food that also changes the flavor. I'm sure there's some things that are good to have as a more than radishes that are good to have as a dish, right? I'm so happy you haven't skipped breakfast ever since we moved here, Keiichi. Again. I was not a morning person when we lived in the city. I'm not a morning person either, but moving to the countryside or going camping, the only reason I wake up in the morning when I'm camping is because I went to bed so early because there was nothing to do. And because the stupid crickets wake me up. That or other people getting up and moving around. I slept right until the last minute before school and rarely ate breakfast. Boycotting the breakfast mom made me each morning. That was probably the only way I could protest being forced to attend cram school. Ah, okay, cram school. That's not fun. They're falling into the stereotype of like a traditional Japanese student. Okay. Has to attend cram school, doesn't have time for a life. Stressful stuff, man. Stressful stuff. College is highly, highly competitive. If you gotta go to cram school, yeah. If like cram school is culture, man, that shit's gotta be super competitive. That would suck so much. I feel like that is one nice thing about living in North America. Right? Like cram school. Oh, cram school could also be pre-high school, right? I believe you might have to go to cram school to go to high schools as well, right? There's admittance exams, at least in anime, to get into high school. So maybe they're trying to get into high school. Either way, that sucks. Like I appreciate that in North America at least. For most high schools, no admittance exam. You just like, yeah, I want to show up. You don't even have to go to the one nearest you. Like, I didn't go to the one nearest me. I went to the one near the school I was attending. That was also not the nearest school to me. Yeah, that was kind of nice. That's kind of nice. And then, you know, there is some competition in North America for, like, the super high-end schools. But it's not like you can't get into a college or university. Like, if you have okay grades, you'll probably get in. You don't need, like, a 95 average to get into it. To get into anything. Like you're fine if you just get A's. Like just get a bunch of A's. It's not that bad. As long as you have like a decent record, you don't fail any classes, you'll probably be okay. Yeah. Yeah, in North America, yeah, your education basically doesn't matter until high school, and then it only matters for like the last 2 grades. Lots of schools don't even check past grade 10. So your grade 9 can actually look really complete trash. Like, they really care about like 11, 12, 10. Even 10 isn't like super important. Yeah, a few hobbies might be useful as well that can turn into a job. Yeah, they look good to college. I mean, you can just rephrase how your hobbies are, because you don't typically sell yourself. On your admissions stuff, like, you don't typically sell your hobbies. You typically sell what you got out of your hobbies. Right? You'd always rephrase things in ways that make it sound like your hobby is actually getting you some useful experience or skill that you could use in a job, right? So you're not like, yeah, I played D&D on weekends and then I played video games. You're like, no. It's like, you know, I did some like team building exercises and shit. Like, you can only try to twist gaming. I mean, depends on what you're doing with gaming, right? Sometimes you just ignore it and it doesn't add enough relevance. And sometimes it's like, you know, if you're like raiding in Warcraft or something, you can probably turn raiding in Warcraft into like teamwork, coordination, strategizing, because you actually have to coordinate people to herd those freaking cats that are your raid members, to A, show up for the raid, and then B, not stand in the fire. And you need to be patient when they're standing in fire. And you're like, please, we've wiped 10 times here. Like, please, just stop. Like, you need to have some self-control to not scream at them, or they won't hang out with you. They won't hang out with you, right? So, like, there are some skills you actually do learn. Yeah, you word it in like a more eloquent way than saying you're hurting a bunch of idiots or cats. You say, like, you know, I like managed a group. I managed like a team of people for some productive exercises or some shit, or some extracurricular. You managed a team of people for extracurricular activities or something like that. Yeah, guiding team members. Like, there's lots of ways to rephrase it in the ways that are useful, and you don't even have to be doing it that much because it's not like that important. And again, like, that stuff is even like less important if you're not like going to a really high-end university, right? Like, what you actually do is less important the less prestigious your place is, and like, I'll be honest, most of them probably not that hard to get into. Honestly, not that hard to get into. Like most of your average universities, you can probably get into without too much trouble, I think. Community college is also good. Community college is also an option, yeah. Those are also relatively easy to get into. Like, relatively, they're even easier to get into, and it's not that bad. So there's, like, lots of options in North America for post-secondary education that's not that difficult to get into. And, like, as long as it's an accredited course, you're good, right? Like, it's not that hard. It's not that hard to get into. You might have to do some studying, and it might be expensive, depending on where you're going, right? Like, money might be an issue. Money might be an issue for when you're attending post-secondary education, but, like, actually getting the education, getting into it is not, like, absurdly hard unless you're going for some really high-end stuff. And generally, that's, like, because you want the prestige, rather than because you absolutely need it to get an education or a job in that field. And of course, you can just go to Europe. Half the countries in Europe seem to have free post-secondary education. So if you're if your German doesn't suck, you can go to Germany. And I mean, you could probably get into Germany. In fact, I'm pretty sure there are several major universities that will accept you even if your language, your ability to speak the language of that country sucks. Might be a hard time, but I mean, exchange students do exist, even in post-secondary education. Community college offers some vocational stuff, yep. There's some options at colleges and stuff. Decent stuff. Police training. I believe police training is actually a college course in Canada. So if you want to go into police, that you don't even have to necessarily go to university. Germany and Netherlands seem like the only countries with free colleges. I'm pretty sure like Finland or something has really cheap or free post-secondary education. There's a lot of countries with free or absurdly cheap college in Europe. There's a lot of options. If that's what you want to do. I guess that was what you'd call my rebellious phase. The rebellious phase, yeah. I wouldn't so much as look at the breakfast she woke up early every day to make. Yeah, but why would you not eat breakfast? It's free food. Who hates free food? If I could go back in time, I'd slap myself. If I could go back in time, I'd slap you too. Mindful of the time, Mom rushed me along with a wide grin. Isn't it about time to meet up with Reina-chan? Hurry, hurry. Mom seemed to really enjoy the fact that her son was going to school with a girl. Reina is one of my classmates. She really loves looking after people, coming to meet me every day without fail. The way I looked at it, a guy my age walking to school with a girl was just lame. But well, keeping a classmate waiting for me every day wouldn't be very considerate. In Germany, all colleges are free though. Yeah, I don't actually know if it's all colleges in like Finland or some shit, so I don't know if it's all of them because I haven't looked into it in a long time. I just know what random people on the internet spout. And some randoms on the internet spouted that was the case. And they said here in it, so I'm implying that they were there, so implying that they lived there, so I'll just take their word because I don't see a reason. I don't think they would have a reason to object to that. It may not be free for international students though. That's also a possibility. I know at least in Canada, most universities have a separate pricing structure for foreign students that's actually more expensive. That I thought was quite interesting. It's like every time I saw a student from another who was like clearly from another country, I'm like, they're paying like 1.5 times what I am, right? Is it really worth it to go to this university? I mean, I guess it depends on like what country you're from, I guess. Whether or not like paying like 1.5 times to go to a university makes sense. Like, unless it's like, if it's not a super prestigious place, like, would you really pay shit ton that much more money? Like, maybe. I feel like most universities, I feel like a lot of universities in Europe would probably have, unless you're like going for something specific, like maybe a medical degree or like a law degree, you could probably get away with like getting anything in most European countries. Could probably get away with something okay from Japan. In fact, I don't. Yeah, as long as your credentials are okay, you could probably get away with, like, as long as your English is good. You could probably get away with it, as long as it's not law or medical school. I know law, you have to, like, focus that country's law. That state's law, heck, even. Right? Because, in the US, I believe, you only get a license to practice law in one state. And I think that might be the case in Canada, too. Alright, let's not keep Reina waiting. Seriously though, how long does Reina wait there for me every morning? Taking one last gulp of miso soup, I raced for the door. Please thank Reina-chan for the pickles. Alright. Come to think of it, those pickles weren't store-bought, were they? If I'd known that, I would have savored them a bit more. Morning. Is any of this voice acted? I'm curious. And I wonder if we're gonna perpetually... Okay. So, this is an interesting clash of... Keiichi-kun. Interesting. Keiichi. This is an interesting clash of aesthetics. We have, like, standard anime art, and then we have, like, a... out of focus... like... effect-laden picture. Okay. Good morning. Her cheerful greeting was as fresh as the morning itself. You're always so early. You should try sleeping in sometime. Sleep in, I'll keep you waiting. You're so conscious. Okay. You're always so early. You should try sleeping in sometime. That's us. That's us. If I sleep in, I'll keep you waiting. That's her. Okay. If it ever happens, I'll just leave you behind. Keiichi-kun, you're so cold. I wait for you all the time. I'll leave you in the dust. I'll leave you in the dust without looking. Why are you so mean? Why? Reina had a slightly troubled look on her face. Going with her was rather fun because of how quickly her mood changed. I'm kidding, I'd wait for you. With those words, Reina seemed to relax. Reina? Yeah, it's Reina, right? Her face flushed bright red. Thank you. I'd wait forever until you came, Reina. No matter how long. Forever? Reina turned bright red, steam rising from her head as her brain short-circuited. She's especially weak to this sort of talk. It's quite rare to find someone this fun to tease. Have you read a romance novel, Reina? I haven't. Never read any more before. From that response, I gathered she was interested in them but was too embarrassed to actually buy one. It's 1983, right? Yeah, okay, that's fair. I was thinking to myself, have you ever heard of this wonderful place called the internet? But 1983, probably didn't have internet. I couldn't imagine what would happen if she did read one. She'd probably turn red and pass out. Oh yeah, message from Mom. She says, thanks for the pickles. It was nothing. You're welcome. How are they? Not too salty? They weren't that salty. Actually, they had a pretty light flavor to them. It would have been fine, to be honest, and say they were good, but apparently, I just couldn't be that forthright. I'd like to ask something before that. Were you the one who pickled them, Reina? Or was it your mom? Why do you ask? Were they too salty? Now you're making her anxious by asking who did it. Oh, don't... Well, he did say he couldn't be that forthright. Damn it, man. Her attitude completely changed as she began to panic frantically. Was it you, Reina? Or was it your mom? Why are you asking who made them? Why? Depending on who made them, my opinion of them might change drastically. What? She counted frantically on her fingers, trying to remember the amount of salt she used to pickle them. It wasn't like I was trying to tease her. I just couldn't stop myself. Guys who take pleasure in this kind of thing are probably the worst. Guys like me. Reina nervously opened and closed her mouth over and over, trying to muster a response. It was me. Delicious. What? Pretty good, just like the last ones. They went perfectly with the rice. Her face went bright red again. She was completely spacing out. It was truly a lot of fun to tease her. I pray Reina never gets taken advantage of by some lowlife. Keep at it, Reina. I'll train you until you handle it like the average person. Or so I decided for myself. Let's go. If we keep me on waiting, we'll never hear the end of it. Seeing as she just keeps spacing out otherwise, I called Reina back to reality so we could make our way to school. This strange, easily flustered girl is Reina Ryugu. Ryugu? I'd only come to know her for about a month, but I've come to realize it's not just her name that's strange. Mi-chan, good morning. Coming to the next rendezvous point, we saw another person waiting for us. Noticing us, she waved. Hello? Finally, you two are late. I'm surprised there's no voice acting for this. I'm not bothered, but I'm moderately surprised. Most visual novels have voice acting. Either we're in like some weird prequel, or there's just no voice acting. Usually you're the one who's late. In sharp contrast to the diligent Reina, this one marched to the beat of her own drum. Mion Sonozaki. For what it's worth, she's our senior and head of the class. Morning, Reina. It's been a while, Kei-chan. So, she said she is their senior, so does that mean she's like a year older than them? They have like a split class? It's possible. They live in a rural area, so there may not be large classes. It might be merging classes. Alright. How many years? Wait, what? I was only off 2 days. You don't say. You were so much cuter back then. Mion's gaze stared at my chest, then dropped straight down, focusing on the point between my legs. So she was saying it was my crotch that was cuter back then. Before you ask, just to be clear, I've never actually tried to show it to her. I've grown quite splendidly. You'd be surprised. Not only is he bigger, he has a little mustache now. Being so engorged with energy every morning is quite a problem, though. I'll introduce you next time. Be sure to greet him properly. Don't say next time. Right now, it's just fine. How about letting the little guy get a breath of fresh morning air? I don't think I've ever heard talk so dirty you could smell it fouling up the morning air before. Mion sure does act like an old man sometimes. Gotcha. Time for the big reveal. Hope you don't regret it. As my hand reached for my fly, Reina began to ramble in near panic. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Red-faced and flustered, Reina tried to play dumb, but it was obvious she knew exactly what we were talking about. Reina claims to be say-so. Reina is not say-so. How was it? Seeing the city again. Mion switched gears, dropping the dirty talk and changing the topic to something far more befitting the pleasant morning. I only went for a funeral. I didn't have much time. So, did you look for it? The thing I asked for? You're not listening at all, are you? I just came back from a funeral. I didn't have time to look around in toy stores. Toy stores and hobby shops are completely different, you know. It's true. It's true. Toy stores don't sell anything. Any of the same things hobby shops have. Pretty much. If you've ever looked in a toy store for hobby stuff, you will come away sorely disappointed. It's really difficult to get Western stuff around here after all. She's a Westaboo, I see. Is this about games again, Micha? Mion nodded proudly as Reina giggled. Yep, I want a Kei-chan to bring me back a Westport catalog, you see. Westport was short for Western Imported Games. Using that abbreviation did make it sound pretty geeky. You can just get them to send you one in the mail, can't you? Well, guess I have to now. I'm gonna get another game full of hot action. Wait, hot action? What kind of hot action is she thinking? Your brain wants, after this person's opening dialogue, which was filled with innuendos, you want to assume that it's some really lewd shit, but I'm also imagining her. Wait, what year did what year did like GoldenEye come out in? I'm gonna guess by hot action she wants to play a shooter. I think that would be funnier if she liked playing like a GoldenEye or something. Let's see, GoldenEye release. Ooh, I don't remember. Wait, hold it. Wasn't it like 90s for Nintendo's? Yeah, I was gonna say it was like 90s, right? It should be. GoldenEye is 90s, so it should be like 83 is before the 64. Is before the Nintendo 64, as I recall. Because it was late 90s. I don't know what she's playing, but that's some old school stuff. If she's looking for video games in the 80s, she's pretty hardcore. That's like super niche, right? Like think of it, like early 80s looking for video games. That's gotta be like, you gotta be like the only person in the school who even has a computer. You might be the only person in school who has like a Nintendo. Wait, yeah, Nintendo was out then, right? 83? When was the original Nintendo? What year was the original Nintendo released in? That's a good question. Let's see. Nintendo. I want like the original Nintendo. Damn, Googling Nintendo obviously gets you the... I kind of want to know about the original product. I wonder if I can find that. Let's see, Nintendo video game consoles, Wikipedia. SNES was the 90s. NES is 1983. This year. So the year they're in is the year that Nintendo launches the original Nintendo Entertainment System. There we go. Good to know. Good to know. So basically, she doesn't have a Nintendo. She has an actual motherfucking computer. Yep, that's pretty hard to do. It's pretty hard to be into video games in the 80s. I'm impressed. I'm impressed because it's a lot of effort and a lot of work to get. It's probably not cheap either to have your own computer. All right. This time I'd like a game that's easy to understand. Oh right, and she's also playing imports from the West. Oh my god, she's like playing life on. She's playing computer games on hard mode. Like, I want you to imagine for like 5 minutes. You're in the 80s, okay? No internet. Like, effectively no internet, okay? No internet. No consoles. You order a Western import of a video game that probably is done in, like, ASCII, okay? And you're trying to understand, like, Rogue in Japanese. Like, just imagine that. Like, you get some ancient freaking game that's probably absurdly hard to understand if you speak English, because the UI sucks. There's no the manual is like practically useless, and you're like, I'm not even playing it in a language engine, man. That is actually like super hardcore. I'm actually impressed. Mion, yeah, it's Mion. I was like, it's like Mion, right? I wanted to double check the name was Mion. I was a little bit worried. I was gonna say like Mew or something. Alright. Yeah, easy to understand. Mion is a board and card game enthusiast. I hear she's okay, she plays board and card games. I was thinking video games. That's fair. Still fairly difficult. She's collected quite a lot of different ones. According to Reina, Mion's room has kind of become a museum for domestic and foreign games. If there's a game you think I'd understand, let me play too. Of course. If Casey heads up for it, I should warn you though, we're pretty tough. Just what I want. She's a board game enthusiast. My bad. I'm still thinking of that. She could have been playing video games. I play all sorts of games. I just don't intend to lose. I don't intend to lose. Alright. Well, then we'll let you in the group this time, I guess. Bristling with joy from head to toe, Reina looked back and forth between me and Mion. Mion gave her an affirmative wink, and her expression perked up even further. I thought boys preferred playing outside more, so I figured you wouldn't want to. Reina laughed happily. I still think it would be very difficult to figure out how the heck you're supposed to play a board game in another language. That'd be hard. That'd be really hard. From such a friendly conversation, you wouldn't think I'd moved here less than a month ago. I understood they did all they could to make a transfer student like me feel at home. I'll have to try hard to fit in, so they won't feel like they have to try and make me feel welcome. Man, I completely forgot that board games were a thing. Oh, I was just talking about how to use D&D as an example on your college application, and here I am forgetting that Monopoly exists. Oh god. 80s board games suck too. Oh, that's rough. Most 80s board games suck. I'm impressed that she actually liked board games, because man, I cannot imagine being excited to play Monopoly. That's it. There are some decent There are some decent word games, but word games are not easy to translate. Word games are the games you don't want to translate. Those are the ones where you're like, oh god, please no. I have to try harder. I'll have to try harder to fit. Oh, hold up. From such a friendly conversation, you wouldn't think I'd moved here less than a month ago. I understood they did all they could to make a transfer student like me feel at home. I'll have to try harder to fit in so they don't feel like they have to try and make me feel welcome. I felt like if I acted a bit more open than I usually am, it probably might be about right for this place. The music is so cheery today. This music is just so exciting. Naomizawa was a really small village. Not only was there only one school, there was only one class. There's the answer to my earlier question, whether they had merged classes or not. Or like one split class. Okay. It's super small. We have the picture of an extremely small school. Alright. It actually makes the school... the interior of this room makes me think of Assassination Classroom. Assassination Classroom had a really small school, right? It was literally like a one classroom school. And it had this aesthetic and cramped feel to it. Like, you can just look at this room. This room feels... this hallway... this isn't a room, sorry. This hallway feels incredibly cramped for a school hallway. Typically, school hallways are, like, enough for people to walk, like, 4 abreast. And in this, you could maybe manage 2 people. And you can kind of imagine, like, to the left is the actual classroom. Yeah, this is either a small classroom or a place to be murdered by ghosts. That makes sense. Or ghosts or yokai lurk. It's not abandoned though. It seems to be. The light tells me it's upkept. The light tells me it's not a creepy place, right? There's lots of light all over the place. The music is cheery. We're not gonna get murdered by a ghost here. At least, not today. Maybe tonight. No horrific specters sinking through the ceiling, drenched in blood to grab my soul. There's about 30 students at different levels, and they all study in the same class. I'm told that, long ago, there used to be a bigger school building, and they had actual separate classes. However, it seems something happened that made it become a single class, and now it stayed that way out of tradition. I was shocked at first, but humans adapt pretty quickly. I've already gotten quite used to it. The sound of children playing started right from the morning. With such a lively mood, it felt more like a kindergarten than a proper school. Not that that was a bad thing. Mion, who'd been walking in front of us up till then, suddenly let me take the lead. Right in front of the classroom door, so I was meant to slide the door open and enter the room first. Too bad, I wasn't gonna fall for that again. To think you'd give up the lead here. You meant for this to be a test of my skills. Mion chuckled with a haughty smirk on her face. What is it, you guys? Step back, Rena. It's dangerous. She's here. Satoko-chan is... Satoko. Who's Satoko? Guess we're meeting another character. We're meeting another character now. Her name was Satoko Hojo. She was a disrespectful, impudent, bossy kid. The way she talks was annoying, but it'd be immature to get worked up over just that. The real problem was this. Quite the obvious trap. A blackboard eraser wedged in the door. It's too obvious, Satoko! A haughty laugh came from beyond the door. Excellent, Kei-chan. I guess this means you win this round. No, this is Satoko we're talking about. I doubt this is it. After falling for such intricate traps since the day I transferred, I no longer let my guard down. Satoko liked to combine a variety of traps. Traps that were simply there to bait you into the main trap. Traps relentlessly coming at you like a sadistic Rube Goldberg machine. The list goes on. As well as being clever, they almost never misfire. When you least expect it, she strikes. No escape, no time to relax. By the looks of it, this eraser is normal. No rocks or anything in it. I took a pretty heavy hit from a blackboard eraser loaded with rocks on my first day. Oh, why don't you open the door and let it drop? That's what it is. That's what Satoko was after. Making me focus my attention upwards, so as I lifted my hand to the door, There were thumbtacks stuck to the sliding door handle with tape. A frightening trap. Oh man, that's gonna hurt. She taped thumbtacks to the door handle. It's a sliding door, so there's probably an inset, so you like slide your fingers in without looking inside. Ow, that hurt. A potent and terrifying trap. Concealed using the blackboard eraser. An impressive combination, Satoko. But in the end, nothing more than the trivial machinations of a child. Assured of my victory, I threw the door open and stepped into the room. What has she got? Like, blackboard eraser on a string? It's a sliding door, so no bucket traps, right? No bucket traps? What does she have? Did she cut his... I felt something strange in my ankle. Similar to the sensation of a jump rope catching on my leg. There we go. A tripwire. Perfect. Might just be a string. It might just be a strand of rope or twine across the floor. Either way, it looks like he's getting got. I was thinking she could just, like, you know, saw out his chair leg. That'd be easy. But that'd actually be really hard to set up and might misfire. So maybe she doesn't use those. By the time I realized she had me hook, line, and sinker, it was already too late. I began to fall in an almost picturesque manner. Ketchup, watch out! Instinctively reacting to Mion's shrill warning, I twisted my body midair before I landed on the floor. What is he, a cat? Ow? An inkstone filled to the brim was placed right where I would have landed. I shuddered imagining the situation had I landed square on it. And of course, it is the mischievous lolly. My, what do we have here? A fair morning to you, Keiichi-chan. Ichi-san. Aren't we a lively one this morning? Still sprawled in an awkward position, I was greeted by a mocking voice. That was a step up from your usual trap, Satoko. I haven't the faintest idea what you mean. You're quite unlucky this morning. Little. Ow, ow, ow. It seemed I'd inadvertently sprained my back a little when I'd landed. Better than landing on that inkstone. Yeah, getting a ton of ink on your shirt, that would suck. You'd basically have to toss that shirt if you didn't immediately wash it. Even then, it might leak the stain. It's ink, man. That's not good for your shirt. A small hand gently rubbed my head. Pain, go away. The small, dainty hand continued to gently stroke my head. You didn't sprain your back or anything, did you? If you rub it like this, the pain disappears. I thought about asking how rubbing my head would help my back, but I didn't. It's not so much about what you actually do, it's the thought that counts. Thanks, Rika-chan. The pain's going away now. Yay, Rika-chan, good morning. Good morning to you, Reina. Good morning to all. Rika-chan greeted each of us with an adorable little bow. It was infectious. Reina, Mion, and I all bowed back. She seems like a nice, friendly girl. You're such a good kid, Rika-chan. Better than Satoko. So much better than Satoko. I glared in her direction. Satoko was whistling while deliberately trying to avoid eye contact. Alright. I'm the model of a good girl. Yes, the model. Yeah, you like Rika? I like Rika. Satoko, on the other hand, seems to be the devil incarnate. A literal demon. A good girl wouldn't set those nasty traps. Nothing but lies and slander. Actually using lies and slander when you're like 12 years old. I'm just imagining like a 10-year-old when I'm like, yeah, you probably shouldn't do that. And they're like, lies and slander. What proof do you have? And it's like, excuse me? I picked up Satoko by the back of her collar with one hand. She looks like a misbehaved cat when I do this, but a cat wouldn't be setting traps. She's much harder to deal with. I'm sorry. Try saying that. If you won't say it, I cocked my index finger on my thumb, letting it tremble as I brought it closer to Satoko's forehead. He's gonna flick her forehead if she doesn't. I'm against violence. You don't even have any proof. Just so you know, my forehead flick really hurts. It can split plywood right in half. though it can definitely split skulls. Stop! Get away, you beast! You beast! Oh my goodness! Don't say that in a way people will misunderstand. He's like, I'm not a pedo. I'm not a pedo. Don't imply that I'm sexually assaulting small children here. I'm gonna flick your forehead. A small hand tugged on the back of my shirt. She's been lonely since you were gone for 2 days. I see. Rika-chan really is just so... How could I do anything more after being told that Rika-chan is just a beacon of positive energy in a already seemingly very positive world? I gently released my grip on Satoko, who at this point was on the verge of tears. She still had her eyes clamped shut as she braced herself for the forehead flick. Man, that's a forehead flick that'll end your life. She's like crying. Oh my god, he made a little girl cry. It doesn't bother me. You mustn't cry, Satoko. Keep on fighting. Rika gently petted the head of her prankster friend. You'd never guess these two are the same age. I think Satoko could learn a thing or a million, maybe, from Rika-chan. Next time, set an even more amazing trap. Wait a minute. As she observed the scene, Reina's expression grew ecstatic as she began to swoon. Oh, Satoko-chan is crying. So cute. Wait, she thinks Satoko's cute? Reina, your taste sucks. You can't take them home. Oh? But they're so cute. You can't, no matter how cute they are. But just for a bit, it's fine. It's fine. Reina kept a cutesy face, even as outrageous ideas spewed from her mouth. According to Mion, Reina is ridiculously weak to cute things and always tries to take them home. Does she have a pet cat? I'm sure she has a pet cat. Object or person. Stealing is bad, but abducting people is even worse. Give it up. I can just look. I'm just looking. That should be fine, right? Reina swooned over Satoko's crying form. If a girl ever goes missing in Hinamizawa, Hinamizawa, I'll be forced to turn Reina into the authorities. She is voted most likely to kidnap someone. I see. By the whole school, in fact. Give me Reina. I'll be sure to bring you care packages when they put you away. Teacher's coming. Quickly, clean everything up. Satoko, that inkstone's yours, right? Just from me on single statement, the entire mood of the room shifted back to normal. The inkstone was bad, but the thumbtacks on the door handle were an even bigger problem. I pulled the tape off carefully, making sure not to skewer myself. Wait, why would you do that? Why not just leave the thumbtacks there and be like, oh, Satoko did that. Sorry about that. Like, yeah, I was pulling them out of my hand. Even though Satoko was the one who set it up, everyone had to pick up after her. By the time the teacher entered the room, the bedlam from before had been neatly tidied up. We made it in time. Rise, attention. Mion give out the morning commands. I wonder if we're going to sit through an entire class. Let's see. Is it going to be like suddenly afternoon? It's difficult being the teacher for all these different grades in one classroom. We haven't skipped. I should quick save. There's a quick save feature. I wonder if F5 works. I'm thinking that may not be a good idea. Let's not click F5. Well, let's not press F5, which is probably an OBS hotkey that I haven't changed for some reason. In fact, is it? I think I remapped all of them off of the lower function keys. Yeah, we're good. F5 is not mapped to anything. It should be safe. It's difficult being the teacher, probably. Yep. Difficult? That's true. She has to teach something different to each one. Yeah, teaching very small schools or classes is pretty difficult. The more you have to teach, the harder it is to give people individual learning. The harder it is to get the information across to everyone, because you have to teach like 20 different people different things. And you have to remember where they're at on each of them. And then instead of just teaching a general lesson to 10 people, you have to like teach 10 lessons to 10 people, which takes way more time. Or you have to assume that they can like study on their own, which is probably pretty difficult for kids. I find it difficult to do myself, and I'm an adult, so probably very difficult for kids, especially for things they're not interested in. Naturally, she ends up spending all her time with the younger kids. Yep. Rana and Mion, being the highest grade in the class, end up mostly doing self-study. They even end up helping teach the younger kids, so it seems like they can never get to their own studies. Yep. I mean, I had to do that in their actual class, full classes. So, yeah, I can imagine having to teach people. They're actually way behind where my studies have progressed to. As a result, I'm pretty much taking over for the teacher and helping Rena and Mion with their studies. Well, the best way to prove you know something is to teach to other people, so that's not a bad idea. You're a pretty good teacher, Keiichi-kun. Easy to understand. Rena took a breather after finishing highlighting an important section. Teaching is making me lose confidence. It makes me aware of how shallow my understanding of the subject is. He's figuring it out. He's like, I'm trying to teach you, and it's like, I'm trying to teach you something, but I don't understand the underlying principles behind this. So when you ask a question like why, I'm like, I just follow the rules. I've been there. Even worse is when you give someone when someone asks a question, you give them an explanation, and they don't understand the explanation because they also don't know about the concepts the explanation contains. They say that to teach someone something, you need to understand it backwards and forwards. Well, you're teaching us, you're getting it in your own practice. Exactly, it's not the worst. In contrast, this person over here is quite laissez-faire about things. For one, isn't she supposed to be in a higher grade than me? Look, Mion, this is for your own good. If you don't take this seriously, there'll be trouble later on. With these marks, it's not like I'm aiming to go to a prestigious school. I'll be fine as long as I pick up what I need to know for the entrance exams a little at a time. Her staunch defiance was really something else. This was a different type of relaxed than somebody who already knew what was going to be on the entrance exams. Mi-chan, Keiichi-kun is doing his best to teach us. We need to try hard too. You're such a good and honest kid, Reina. I'll make sure you guys get accepted into a good school. Thanks so much. Especially you, Rana. Private lessons? Just the two of us. Private lessons? A puff of smoke shaped like a halo popped out of Rana's head. Exactly what kind of private lesson is she fantasizing about that's making her turn so red? I'd like to hear the play-by-play about that next time. While Mion was flipping through her vocabulary flashcards, she threw out a casual question. So in the city, do you have to study this much? You don't know at least this much, you can't get into university. So you study just to get into a university? Well, yeah, basically. While knowing that this stuff won't ever come in handy in the future. Out here, you can get into university as long as your attendance is good enough. Wait, really? Study equals entrance exams. Having that basic law of the universe so easily overturned sent me into a state of shock. That's right. There aren't really enough people around here to warrant weeding them out with an exam. If anyone can get to university, then there's no need to be all uptight about this, right? Well, that's true, but you should at least know stuff that's common knowledge. This old geezer thinks that, instead of wasting time studying pointlessly, you should be spending your precious teen years doing more meaningful things. It was too profound of a statement to simply laugh off, but since it was Mion, it probably didn't actually have that deep of a meaning. Alright, Mion's older, so she's calling herself an old geezer. I see. She had just called herself an old hag, but maybe she didn't want to imply that she... No. An old hag. What that? In place of a chime, the sound of the principal waving a handbell drifted through the classroom. Kei-chan, we're done. It's our wonderful lunchtime. In a complete 180 from her unmotivated state, Mion gave the commands that signaled the end of the morning period. Keiichi-kun, let's have lunch. I would have been making a very troubled face. Reina smiled brightly at me. Alright, so we're on to lunch. Day 1, lunch. So far, we've been enjoying our lives, and going to school. I wonder when the plot, if there is a plot, will kick in. Or is this just going to be laid back and fun? Guess we'll find out. Let's keep going. Just need a quick drink. Alright, let's eat. I wonder if every chapter uses the same background style. I don't mind the sprites, but I do mind the background style. It's kind of... I'm not super enthused by it, but I still wanted to read the novel, so I'm gonna keep going. It's honestly not enough of a turn off to make me want to stop reading, or even like slow me down. It's just kind of like, it could be better. I feel like if you're gonna have like anime sprites, just unless they match really well with the background, just hand draw or like standard anime backgrounds would probably be better than this stylized stuff. There seemed to be different cliques, even within the class. Most of them were divided up by gender and age, but our group was different. Our ages were different, and we had both boys and girls. But we weren't reserved enough, or reserved around each other. Okay. This level of openness makes a transfer student like me pretty happy. Reina and Mion pushed their desks together so they were facing each other. Okay, at the same time, Satoko and Rika-chan were slowly lugging their desks over as well. Satoko and Rika look like they're like 2 years younger than us. Or like 2 years younger than the other girls, maybe. They look a couple years younger, right? I wonder if that's like the top bracket, maybe? Is that the top bracket of students? So this might be a 1 to 8? Or even like a 1 to 10? Maybe even like 1 to 12. Shit, man. Maybe 1 to 12. Oh, wait. There are 3 years of Japanese high school and 2 years of middle school? I'm trying to remember how the Japanese school system's set up. This might take you all the way through school, though. All the way through your mandatory education. Keiichi-kun, hurry, hurry. Reina waved her chopsticks in an unrefined manner, trying to hurry me along. Unless everyone was together, they wouldn't even open their lunchboxes. Keiichi-san's lunchbox is most assuredly filled with nothing but bread crusts, like some sort of destitute plebeian. Why don't you just show it to us? Come on now. Again, destitute plebeian. How old is Satoko supposed to be? Even though Satoko was hurling insults at me, she still wouldn't open the lid to her lunchbox until I was there. I pulled out my lunchbox swiftly and dragged my chair over to join the circle. Sorry to keep you waiting. Well then, Representative Me, please give the signal to start. At first, this was kind of embarrassing, but I got used to it pretty fast. At this point, I probably wouldn't even open my own lunchbox if someone else was too slow. Our ages and genders may have all been different. Wait, there's like one person who has a different gender here. We were all friends. I think. Let's eat. The sound of our little 5-part chorus echoed beautifully through the classroom. I assume that was an itadakimasu. Really though, I've gotten pretty used to this group made up of all girls. Of course there's other boys in the class, but they were a lot younger, so they were scared to approach me. Okay, so younger than all of those girls is the oldest boy. He is the only person. He's like the only guy in like 4 years, for like the top 4 years. Alright. Well, that's to be expected. Younger boys just see older boys as scary. Heard at the girls? Well, at least these girls aren't picky. We all put the side dishes in the middle where everyone was free to pick at them. I thought girls would mind sharing a meal with a guy, so I was a bit flustered joining them. However, Mion noticed that and teased me quite a bit. And the fruits of my efforts? I can now reach over and take sides from anybody's lunch. My, isn't Sir Keiichi's lunch extravagant today? My, isn't Madame Satoko's lunch as extravagant as well? That stewed stuff has a nice look to it, rather trendy. Buying into the fight with That Satoko was starting, our chopsticks locked in a cross-counter, stabbing into each other's lunch. My, how delicious. Oh, this taro is good. The stewed stuff is good too, even cold. After seeing my happy face, Rika-chan's expression broke into a smile. I saved some from dinner last night. By the way, Satoko and Rika-chan's lunches are always the same. It seems Rika makes it for both of them every day. Okay, so Satoko can't trap the lunch. Good to know. Lunch is safe. Rika-chan made this too? These taste like mom's home cooking. I was honestly impressed. The carrot rosettes weren't from a mold. They were done by hand with a knife? Seriously? That's a lot of work. That's not easy to do. I guess Rika-chan's just good at this sort of thing. Note to self, Rika-chan is good with a knife. Yeah, that's like a ton of work, right? That's when you make, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, you're making rosettes, I'm trying to think, you make rosettes, carrot rosettes by slicing carrots extremely thinly and then like nicely like piling them up to make a fucking rose, right? Make it look like a flower. That is a lot of extra work. I wonder how quickly they... I wonder if she just like undercooked those. What if she undercooks those so they're not mushy? If you cook carrots and they're like ultra thin, they sometimes get mushy. A lot of vegetables can be like a little bit mushy. Oh. Might be interesting. So Rika-chan's good with a knife. Or at least has a decent tool to cut really thin slices of carrot. A good knife, if nothing else. A good blade could... You need a good blade to cut thin pieces. She's really good at sewing laundry and stuff like that. Amazing, right? Amazing. Amazing. Rika is quite exceptional in many ways. That's nothing for you to boast about. Yeah, what about... Reina's actually better at cooking than I am. You know. It seemed that the top of the conversation switched to Reina when she wasn't expecting it, making her blush and trip over her words. I appreciate that we only have one person who's super awkward all the time, and we didn't have like several girls being like incredibly awkward about stuff. Although to be fair, this is like the entire cast so far that's had like, or most of the dialogue has been several women, so having all the women be like super awkward around the main character would be kind of weird, but I'm still going to appreciate the fact that it's like only one character seems to be even remotely awkward, and the rest are pretty normal. At least as normal as characters get in characters in fictional novels go. Reina's lunch was really the star of the table. Not only did it look good, it tasted good. Everyone else pulled from Reina's lunchbox constantly. I've had like this one so much before. I made a lot this time. It's good, I hope. I hope. Got high marks from me. Mion, you're taking too much. Knocking Mion's chopsticks aside, I reached out trying to secure my own portion. Satoko and Rika-chan struggled over this at the same time, and a struggle ensued. Everyone shoveled in mouthful after mouthful while praising, and Reina's lunchbox was soon empty. It was kind of bad no one thought to leave any for Reina, but Reina seemed rather satisfied as she looked on. This is where Reina just pulled out her backup lunchbox. How'd you like it? Isn't Reina-san an extremely good cook too? Quite different from Keiichi-san. I said that's nothing for you to boast about. You're not much different from Kei-san, Satoko. Kei-chan, Satoko. Can you tell the difference between broccoli and cauliflower yet? Oof. Oof. One's green. Come on. One's green. The other's white. Surely you can tell the difference. Satoko's face went pale. Oh no. She must have confused the two at some point. Even I can tell the difference between broccoli and cauliflower, you know. Oh, of course I can. I really can. Oh no. Oh no. It's really hard for her to lie. Chicken both taste good when they're boiled and topped with mayo, right? That's not how you tell them apart. You shouldn't be picking on her. Ichi? Reina hurriedly tried to follow up, but Mion laughed haughtily as she drew closer to Satoko. Imagine confusing cauliflower and broccoli. You're like, one's white, one's green. You're like... bonk. A bonk for me, apparently. Apparently they didn't like that. Well, let's just pretend it's a little home ec lesson. Okay, now then, Satoko, what's this? Mion lifted up her chopsticks. Between them was a piece of green stuff wrapped in bacon. That's a spare... Mion made eye contact with me, and within 0.3 seconds I had Rika-chan's mouth covered. Holding a piece of bacon-wrapped asparagus and giving her two choices. She's pretty terrible. Wait, what is she holding? Green wrapped in bacon. The green one is yellow's called. The green one's called which? Probably the yellow one is broccoli and the blue one called. The green one is You really know which is which? How would you just give up? I expect no less from the class representative. The oldest. The way she drives people into a corner just shows how much experience she has. Man, she's savage. She's like, so. Is this broccoli or cauliflower? Holding a piece of asparagus. Oh, it's so mean. It's so mean. It's just a hunch, but being brought into the Sonozaki household must be quite the ordeal. I do know. I really do. Then answer the question. I know. She finally broke down and started crying. When she acts like this, she actually starts to seem her age. How cute. Reina entered a state of euphoria as Satoko bawled her eyes out. Reina was in such a state of bliss as she rubbed her cheek against Satoko's head and smothered her. Really a very content face, honestly. One that wouldn't care if the world ended right now. It was that kind of smile. Reina. Baby is picking on me. I feel a little bit sorry for Satoko, but remembering that she, plays with dangerous traps and intentionally tries to get you to hurt herself, I'm not feeling too bad for her. So cute. Okay, Reina One-chan will take care of all those bad people who tease my little sister. Squish, boof, bam. It was like a flash of lightning. What was that just now? Both of Reina's fists shot out at supersonic speed, striking Mion and me squarely in our faces. Before we knew it, we were sprawled, spread eagle on the floor, staring at the ceiling with matching welts on our faces. This is the first time you've gotten one, right? Today, she went easy on us. Easy? You mean there's something harder than this? With that, Mion and I both slumped our heads back to the floor in unison. From now on, I'll be careful when I'm within striking distance of Reina. See, Stoka-chan, I took care of them. Cute. I want to take you home. Making sure Reina couldn't see it, Satoko stuck her tongue out at us. Damn it all, using Reina like a puppet. Vicious woman. Alright. Rika-chan massaged our bruises without saying a word. This Satoko. A snake. No matter what the day had held, the last school bell always came too soon. Our shadows stretched off into the distance. Okay, Chiku. Tomorrow, do you have plans or anything? Or anything? Do you have plans or anything? It was such a direct question from Reina, I inadvertently blushed. If it was for a date, wouldn't you do it more subtly? Reina saw me lost for words and realized I'd misunderstood and turned red as well. No, I didn't mean it like that. You see... Apparently that wasn't what she meant. But since it was always fun when Rin is in a panic, I went along with it a little. Oh, really? It wasn't meant that way. Playing it up, I slumped my shoulders, feigning dejection. Keiichi-kun, why are you so disappointed? Why? Mii-chan, help! This is good. I'm enjoying these scenes so much. They're so good. Unable to hold it in any longer, Mion slapped me on the back. I see. This little geezer never knew you could push her buttons like that. What is it? Mion was rolling on the floor, clutching her stomach while Reina flailed about, completely bewildered. I couldn't help but start laughing as well. Feeling a little bit guilty, I ruffled Reina's hair. Kidding. Sorry, it was a joke. That was my fault. This is nice. Nice and relaxing. She really is a cute one. A joke? Since when? Since when? About halfway through. Halfway? It's okay, Chan. That means you weren't acting when you blushed at the start? Well, that means... It was only a momentary laugh, but there was no way Mion would let such a delectable detail slip by her. Well, you see... Anything more was... Saying anything more? Yeah, that'd be a bad idea. I'm with you. Protagonist code, Keiichi-kun. There we go. I remember his name. In my bewildered state, I slipped further into an unfavorable position. After that, Mion continued to tease me about it for a while. No escape for you. So, why were you asking if I'm free tomorrow, Reina? Oh, what were we talking about? It had been so long, Reina had forgotten. That's how long Mion had teased me. It's just, Kei-chan, you probably can't find your way around him. Hinamizawa by yourself yet, can you? That was true. I hate to say it. But if you blindfolded me and spun me around 3 times, like we're playing Pin the Tail on the Donkey, I wouldn't be able to tell up from down here. But can you find your way home? Yeah, I don't think I know how to get anywhere besides back and forth from school. Yeah, see, tomorrow we're thinking that Mii-chan and I could escort you through Hinamizawa and show you around. That would be a godsend. Frankly, I was happy for the offer. You'll come, of course, right? If I'm free. If I'm free. You're being invited by a girl, you know. If I'm free. You're probably free anyways. If I'm free. I was being stubborn so as to not give a clear yes or no. Even though I thought it was a godsend, I'm too much of a scamp to say so up front. Keiichi-kun, you're not free perhaps? Perhaps? While Mion and I had a rather sour back and forth, Reina peeked over at me hesitantly. Figure I had been a bit too rough on her, I just gave in. Sorry. Forgive me, I apologize. I'm free. Great. Trepidation disappeared from Reina's face as it blossomed into a smile. Stop abusing Reina, Keiichi. You're a terrible person. Hey now. It seems like there's quite a difference between how cold you are to me compared to Reina, isn't it? It seems Mion didn't care for how rude I was to her, compared to how quickly I agreed with Reina. Yeah, but how can you say no to her? She has her emotions swing wildly, like, all the time. Actually. Alright. Let's go, Reina. Her being a no was interesting, so I pushed Reina forward, speeding up to our place. Haste to leave Mion behind, I accidentally missed a line. Accidentally tabbed out. Should probably not have anything clickable in the other window. I was like, oh, I accidentally opened something. That was a bad idea. Mildly confused me for a second. Alright. There we go. Nothing clickable open. Maybe it should just be the 2 of us tomorrow. Leave old grumpy old Mion behind. Leave Mion behind? Ooh. Well, if Keiichi-kun's okay with that, That'd be just like a date, wouldn't it? Just like a date. I'm the one who came up with the idea. I'm the one who came up with the idea to take him out. Don't ignore me, Kichi, my bar. Kichi, my bar. It'd be great if the two of us go on a picnic together. Should we bring a basket, Reina? If we're bringing a basket, I'll make all the food. Maybe. Don't you ignore me too, Reina. I'll tell everyone. You two disappeared into the hotel district together. Yeah, you're gonna get a slap for that. Well then, I'm going home right now to start making it. What is this bonk? What is this bonk for? Tomorrow's going to be so fun. Later, Keiichi-kun. Mii-chan. Bye. Reina bounded off like she was walking on the moon. After the dust settled, all that was left was me standing next to Mion, sprawled on the ground. A welt on her face. Are you alright? There was over 2 meters between you guys. Since you came, they've become sharper. This old gear's body can't handle it. Maybe it'd be easier if you stopped saying stuff that makes Reina want to hit you. Or else this will end up being Mion's slapstick comedy hour. Is that so bad? Is that so bad? She's already been hit twice, and it was kind of amusing both times. If that happened, the results might be fatal. Don't feel bad, Mion. You're probably the only one who can dodge her jabs. Oh, Mion can dodge the jabs sometimes. That's not too bad. It felt like it was her knee, though. Could it be that we're hanging around with an unrivaled martial arts master? Maybe someday we'll see her debut in an extreme contact sport. Can't lose to Reina. You need to train up and have a rematch. Kei-chan, you should... This old geezer will root for you. Mion and I reaffirmed our determination to discover a way to counter Reina's infallible technique. Listen, you're already off in the mountains. All you have to do is start the training. Just find a waterfall. It's easy. Everyone knows, to master martial arts, meditate under the waterfall, okay? Meditate under the waterfall, do exercises, and you'll become a martial arts expert in no time. Trust me, I've seen like at least 2 karate movies. I've seen at least 2 martial arts films. I know what I'm talking about. I assume that's the end of the prologue. Or is this the end of, like... This is the end of the prologue, right? That's gotta be, like, prologue. You've received new tips. We are a mixed grade. We don't have uniforms? Okay, view all tips. What happens if I click it? So, Reina, we're the same age? Yes, that's right. We're the same zodiac animal, too. Hey now, it would be weird if we were the same age but not the same zodiac animal. That's not true. Correct. Correct. If your birthday isn't the same, you can have different animals even if you're the same age. Oh, I see. Mion, you're pretty smart. So tips are like side stories or side arcs then, maybe? We haven't read this dialogue before. What month were you born, by the way, Keiichi-kun? I'm in July. Reina smirked and puffed up with pride. Hey now, what's the meaning of this? She's not planning to be all high and mighty if her birthday's a wee bit sooner than mine, is she? Don't even. It's impossible to challenge me by birthday. I wouldn't even mind if you bet $1 per month. Why? Why? Reina panicked at suddenly being challenged to a wager. Given how panicked she is, I'm certain she doesn't have much allowance left this month. It's just sending her to a panic about something as simple as a birthday is so fun I can't help myself. That means you're born in April, Kei-chan? Right on! Too bad, Reina. I'm already far older than Reina. Oh, I see. You're the same age as Mii-chan. Well, it's just a few months. The gap will open up again soon enough. Wait, what? Mion snickered through her nose. You know, it's not something to get all high and mighty about. As if I'm one to talk. Now that you mention it, you're in a higher grade, right, Mion? If you're into underclassmen, I can be an underclassman from now on. Mii-chan, you're not making sense to me. Just by seeing Rana's blushing face, you could tell she knew exactly what she meant by that. The Makoto and Rika-chan are underclassmen. Their grade is so different they should be in a different school, shouldn't they? Keiichi, could you... Kids are a bit young, I think. You're not making sense, Rana. I'll just grab onto your head and scruff it up a bit, okay? Just do that. Stop it! I wondered about it before, yeah? I was wondering why this school has different school years all mixed up. Is this a side story, or is it like how long is this going to be? I'm like slightly confused. Okay. So there aren't enough classrooms, yep. They can't help it. This building's being rented from the forestry services after all. When she says it like that, it makes sense. I've thought our school was strange for a while now. The schoolyard is gravel and there are rooms that aren't for classes. There's some strange sort of construction machinery parked here. Why is it being borrowed? Oh my god, are they murdering people and burying bodies in the backyard? Maybe that's a bit grim. Why is it being borrowed? What happened to the real school? There was one here forever from before the war. It got dilapidated. They closed it down. It probably was a grand old schoolhouse. And because of that, students would have to attend school in the city. It's pretty far though, you know? Which school would that be? Did you know there's a school if you pass by the Okinomiya train station, turn to the hospital, and head towards the pediatrics department? What? So far. I couldn't tell where that was by the location, but I understood it was pretty far from Rihanna's reaction. Well, that's why. The guys that didn't want to commute to Okinomiya rented out the building from the forestry services and are attending this pseudo schoolhouse here. Okay, so this is a building they are renting from the forestry services. Uses the school. It's not even an actual schoolhouse. Okay, that makes sense. About half the children in Hinamizawa go here. There are quite a lot of kids that come here on bike. Oh, only half the kids in Hinamizawa go there. So there's another school? Well, since they're attending this really messed up school, it might be pretty hard to get them into higher education. That's not true, Mi-chan. You study properly, you can go anywhere you want. That's right. I totally agree with Reina on this one. That's right. Have confidence. That's right. Let's try our best. All of you try your best. This old man will be rooting for you. Not just us, you too. You should be preparing for exams, shouldn't you? Your future's bleak with grades like this. Fine, just fine. If I get stuck, I'll just mooch off K-chan as he works forever. What do you mean by work forever? What do you mean? Hey, you're too loud. Be quiet during self-study. Teacher's yelling at us. The teacher yelled at all three of us. It was completely our fault. Shoko saw it and chortled haughtily. I stuck out my tongue at her in response. Very mature, but I don't know how old their protagonist is. It's just as Mion says. This school has nothing to do with higher education, but it makes up for that by having lots of valuable things other schools don't. Like... Okay. Well, I guess tips are just side scenes. You know what? I'll just play through them then. We don't have a uniform? Yeah, why is everyone not wearing the same school uniform? Well, because they don't have one? Because it's like 20 people? There's like 10 people. It's not even worth it. They're like, yeah. It's only June, but it's already so hot. I could hear the Higurashi outside chirping. And at night, there are mosquitoes. Oh, I don't like mosquitoes. Can we not have mosquitoes? It might as well be summer already. My only salvation was that the mornings were still cool. Summer, I do declare. Sakoto was flapping her skirt languidly. That's pretty unladylike there. Even if she was a little brat, she's still a girl. Keiichi does seem quite cool with just a single button-up shirt. I'm so jealous. For how I see things, the skirt you're wearing looks like it would be much cooler. A girl like you just wouldn't understand. Wearing jeans during this season? How steamy the crotch gets. It gets steamy? This girl has gone imagining something indecent. Okay, I think every time we say something, yeah, Reina's just like off in Fantasyland. Reina's summer clothes have a nice, refreshing color. I feel cooler just looking at them. Thank you. They really do feel pretty cool. I wish my summer clothes were as breezy as Reina's. But Sakoto-chan, your summer clothes are so cute. They're a one piece and all. I'd like to wear your summer clothes. I'd like to wear your summer clothes. It's actually quite stuffy, you know. I do believe what you're wearing would feel much cooler. It would be so much more fun with cute clothes. I had a feeling Reina and Sakoto's base values were fundamentally different. Seems like Sakoto likes comfort and Reina's like cute on the brain. Speaking of which, our school doesn't have a uniform. Oh, that's from us. Yeah. Doesn't. As long as they're proper, the regular clothes are fine. Quite a few students in regular clothes. There were a few wearing uniforms, but they were all the same design and rather plain. What's the uniform they're all wearing then? They're all the same. That's the city's school's uniform. It's not like there's a rule, but they're all wearing them. Speaking of which, everyone in our group is wearing a different uniform, aren't we? Did you go out of your way to get them from somewhere? No, it's called protagonist syndrome. It's called main character / protagonist / main cast syndrome. We all look unique because we're all special characters. Well, yes, Mion-san supplied them. Mion-chan's relative runs a second-hand clothing store. They get school clothes from all over the country for cheap, they say. You asked them to get a bunch of unique uniforms. That Mion, she probably loves using her friends as dress-up dolls. That must be a strange second-hand clothing store. I get that it's a second-hand clothing store, but stocking clothes from schools all over the country? That's pretty strange for a second-hand clothing store. It is very strange. It is very strange. Is the person, like, really into schoolgirl uniforms? What's the point in stocking up from faraway schools they know nothing about? Yeah, I think so too. They also have used school swimsuits and PE uniforms. I don't like the idea of having used ones. Yeah, it doesn't sound like the shop makes much money. Again, I swear, they probably have Mion pitch in and help so they can make a bit more. But Mion says it'll be a big hit and become a great store. With such conviction. A second-hand clothing store that stocks used school uniforms will be a big hit. I don't get it. Mion's got confidence. Whether or not she'll succeed, don't know. I guess we save. Here's where we save our data. End of chapter 1. Wait, the chapter is already complete? Damn, that was fast. If I click continue, does it go to chapter 2? Or does it tell me to go download chapter 2? It said end of chapter 1, so I'm curious. That was actually a pretty short chapter. I took it a little too easy on the morning of my day off. I was totally late. Today was the day Reina and Mion were going to show me around Hinamizawa. Too much sleeping in? Oh, okay. So that's nice. We don't just have our regular uniform. They're actually wearing, like, unique clothing. That's nice. I wonder if they will change clothing every day. That's something I try to always watch out for in anime and show, or in anime. Like, does the character, if they're ostensibly a normal person, do they wear different clothing every day? It's like, I don't know about you guys, but I do not wear the same clothes every day. At least I don't wear the same shirt every day. At least in like Danganronpa, they had an excuse for wearing the same clothing in that there was only like 30 copies of their school uniform. So at best, someone could mix and match with someone else's school uniform, or someone else's like weird sort of uniform. But in other novels, kind of weird. Like, they need to come up with an excuse for you to always be wearing their school uniform. Reina and Mion were already waiting at the meeting place. I hope they weren't waiting long. Okay, Chan, you're late. Sorry. The show I was watching last night was really interesting. Blame that. Oh, so that's your excuse for being late and keeping two girls waiting. Mi-chan, you just got here yourself. Last night's episode of A Day in the Life of was interesting, wasn't it? Is that what we were watching? She was just as guilty as me. Reina was carrying a pretty heavy-looking handbag. What is that? Mion answered my unspoken question with a wink. That's right. Reina really did make a picnic. Kei-chan, after you left? Reina pulled out all the stops. It's not like I forced her to do it. It was nothing. Don't worry about it. Did I miss that line? Nope. Okay. It was just okay. She's been like this since last night, you know? Can you take responsibility for this? Alright. I'm a man, after all. I'll take responsibility. What? Responsibility? For what? What? As we both turned slowly to look at Reina, our gazes drifted downwards to the massive handbag she was carrying. It didn't seem logically feasible it would be entirely filled with lunchboxes. Except this was Reina we're talking about here. About 2 kilos, I'd guess? What Reina was picking up, I could see she was struggling a bit. I'd say 5. You're exaggerating. Keiichi-kun's a boy, after all. I thought he could probably eat a lot, so I mean a lot, okay? Let's get going. Heave-ho! Just the way she was lifting it, I couldn't believe the things in there were, only things in there were lunchboxes. Correction, I say 5 kilos too. 5 kilograms? Damn, how many sandwiches she making? Pretty sure it was the night where they had a picnic and it was all sandwiches, right? I mean, I'm sure it's happened in several anime, but I mean, I'm thinking of that one. Like Shiro makes picnics. It's like all I swear it was like all sandwiches. I'll help it, but all of it needs to be eaten. I won't forgive you if you make Reina sad. Got it? The only thing I could do at the moment was exercise a bit to make myself hungrier. He's like, oh god, it's like 5 kilos. I gotta start running on the spot, burn calories so my body's hungrier. All right, bro, go for it. I don't know if it's gonna work, but keep going, bro. Having finished with the pleasantries, we began our leisurely stroll. A carefree walk, bathed in the gentle morning sunlight. I couldn't have even imagined something so wholesome existed during my time in the city. These were the boonies, after all. No slovenly desk jockeys trudging to work on the weekends out here. It really was a nice place, peaceful and quiet. As sparsely populated as the village was, you could still run into people just by walking around. Good day. Good day. Oh, you would be my Barak-kun, I believe. My 2 companions exchanged pleasantries with everybody who ran across. All these passerby even knew my name. Small town, man. When did I become this famous? We passed 3 people, and when all 3 of them knew me, I started to feel a little bit paranoid. It's a bit sad to say, everyone knows everyone since there's so few people here in Hinamizawa. So that means when an unfamiliar face walks by, they automatically assume it's that Maibara fellow who just moved here? That's how it works out. It was a process of elimination you could only pull off in a place like this, but it was quite effective. It's like, we don't know who he is, but we hear a new kid move, so I guess it's probably the Maibara family, because Maibara's last name, his last name, right? From now on, I better make sure to maintain a good reputation. The day I'm discovered accidentally gawking at a dirty magazine in the bookstore, I can expect all the villagers labeling me as a lecher by the end of the day. Hinamizawa is not to be trifled with. Small town gossips. This isn't the end of this nightmare. Oh? Of course, I know them. The first person we met was old man Takazo from the Makino bike shop. His hobbies are bonsai and playing the flute. Next, we met the grocer's second son, Daisuke-kun. His hobby is sharpshooting, and he hopes to be an ace sniper in the future. And the person we just met was Mio-san, the nurse from the clinic. Her hobbies are bird watching and photography. You know the names of everyone we pass by? And even their profiles? Seeing my surprise, Mion and Reina exchanged looks and burst into laughter. Yeah. We're not like the city where people hardly know their neighbors. Let's try it out. You there, who am I? You there, who am I? This is where you find some, like, the one person in the city who doesn't know you. You're Keiichi Maibara. You say some mean things, but you're actually a kind, shy person. It's been 3 weeks since you transferred here. Your hobby is taking afternoon naps. Lately, you switched over to wearing boxers. Didn't you? Enough. She knows enough about me. Why does she know that? Boxers. Enough of that. Apparently there's absolutely nothing you can keep hidden here. And Namizawa was not a place to be trifled with. It feels more like you guys are showing me off than showing me around. That's right. We're parading around like this after all. Don't you think of this so too? The K-Chan's fitting right in here in Hinamizawa? The population in Hinamizawa is shrinking. The villagers welcome anybody who's new here. I thought about brushing it off with something like, "You're kidding me," but I held back. Had I ever greeted someone who just moved into the city like this before? Thinking about that made me believe what they said wasn't a joke after all. We passed another person. Of course, we're called out to again the same way. Oh my, good day. It's wonderful seeing you getting along. This lady here is Uchishima-san. Good day. Oh my Barakun, how wonderful you. Having a lovely girl on each arm. How are you? Getting used to life here? Instead of regurgitating a prepared response like I would have in the city, I responded with an emphatic nod. The old woman chuckled, voicing her appreciation of how energetic I was. Good. As I looked back over to Reina and Mion, they gave me a wink. So, now then, about time to have lunch, maybe? Reina's brilliant smile signaled the approach of an event that both Mion and I were trying to forget. We looked at each other. I'm a man. I'll do what I can. But it's just too much. It's fine, Kei-chan. Leave it to this old man. Mion never seemed as reliable as she does right now. I'd expect no less from the class rep. Reina, if we're going to eat, we might as well go somewhere with a good view. Yes, good idea, I agree. Reina nodded her head happily in response to Mion's proposal. Gotta burn those calories. Perfect, lots of stairs. Oh, a shrine, okay. Cresting the top of the stone stairway, a shrine drawn straight out of my imagination appeared before us. It had worn down a bit, though, through the years, but the fallen leaves had been swept up, giving it a tidy feeling. So it's a dated shrine, okay. This here is the Furuj Shrine. It's probably the place with the best view around. This place, be sure to remember it. On our next break, a festival will be held here. Isn't it a bit too early in the season for a festival? The Watanagashi isn't a summer festival. Long ago, it used to be a celebration at the end of winter. I was embarrassed for assuming the festivals had to be held in summer. Imagine making, well... Now then, spread out the lunchboxes, and there. Various colored lunchboxes were placed one after the other on top of the plastic sheet. It sure smelled delicious. My hydrate boy's here. Alright. I'm hydrating. It's Reina's home cooking. It went without saying it would be delicious. But is it even possible to finish all of this? Mion, it'll take more than a good view to get all this down, you know? Good afternoon. It was Rika-chan and Satoko. Why are they here? I'm doing quite well. Thank you for asking. But why are they here? Mion grinned over at me. I see. This is their secret plan. Power in numbers. Thanks, Mion. Following up when all the pieces are in place is my specialty. We just had to come here because there was such a commotion. What's the meaning of this? Take a look. It's time for lunch. Buffet style. A handmade gourmet meal by Reina. I can see that much. Why have you laid out a tarp on our property? The temple is public grounds. It's not yours. Keiichi is right. This is everyone's property. Wow, Rika-chan's such a good girl. Have a seat. Eat with us. After opening up a spot for Rika-chan, I promptly turned my back on Satoko. Hold on 1 second. Where's my spot? No spot for you and nothing for you to eat. Don't worry, there's some for you too. None. I'll eat all hers. I won't allow. Rika, here, chopsticks. Both Satoko and I leapt at the boxes, having it out with each other. He's like battling with someone like 5 years his junior. What a guy, Keiichi-kun. Right, man, really, Kei-chan, you're really good at leading people on. You might have a talent for this. Have a plate, one for me, Chan. Rika-chan too. Reina whipped out pairs of chopsticks and paper plates. She brought backup chopsticks and plates for at least 2 extra people. If we don't hurry, it'll all be eaten up. That's right, okay. No, 5 kilos, that's a decent amount of food. Shall we commence this battle? A battle with the food boss. Please eat a lot, there's enough for everyone. Reina said as she opened up a thermos. Just then I realized this lunch was made under the assumption that 5 people would be eating. It didn't change how much there was, but the implication behind it was different. I won't allow you to have this hamburger. Using your elbows against the rules, Satoko. Grabbing the back of my collar is also against the rules. They're still fighting it out. It was a tough battle, blocking with her full momentum and an elbow in the opening moves. Satoko appeared to have the upper hand, but the difference in our proficiency with chopsticks proved fatal and gave me the upper hand. I assume this is a small slice of ground beef. This is a small piece of ground beef they're fighting over and not an actual hamburger. As my mind jumped to someone trying to pick up an actual hamburger with a pair of chopsticks, and I'm like, how is this going to work? It would be very awkward to pick up something that heavy with chopsticks, right? Ah, the last meatball! The Toko Hojo has been bested! No! Satoko and I amicably began choking at the same time, backwards and spasming. Rika patted me on the head to clear it, even though it was actually stuck in my throat. Seeing that made Reina blush and breathe heavily in excitement. It was almost like flowers were floating all around her. Mion advised her to refrain from saying anything that could get her locked up. Mion's like, Reina, don't say anything or you're going to horny jail. This is how our meals usually go. I'd do anything in my power, just so things could stay like this. Oh no, don't say things like that! Don't say things like that! The intense battle calmed. And finally, everyone reached a point where they could begin talking. Receiving tea from the thermos, I let out a small sigh. I do wonder why there's so few words in Japanese to praise how something tastes. What do you mean you can't just say oishi like 20 times? Isn't it because the idea of togetherness during a meal didn't begin until the modern era? It seems long ago people ate in silence. Must have made the people preparing the food a bit sad, don't you think? It's probably because back then the people were busy even while eating and didn't have time to compliment the flavor. That's just you. That's just you, Satoko. You know, just hearing it's good makes me happy. My effort was worth it, I mean? She blushed a little as she said that. It's delicious. With absolutely perfect timing, Rika-chan struck Reina directly with praise. She looked straight at her with an expression of bewitching innocence. After Reina uttered an unintelligible noise, a ring of smoke rose from her head with an audible poof. Rika-chan, I'm gonna take you home. I mean, thank you. It was really delicious. Reina flushed red with excitement, embracing Rika-chan and rubbing her cheek against her so hard you could almost hear it. To reward Rika-chan for her praise, ta-da! These are special. 2 apple rabbits. After sticking toothpicks into them, she thrust them towards Rika. Apple rabbits. After Rika accepted them, the mood suddenly shifted in a bizarre way. What is it, Satoko? What's with that defiant look? Has everyone prepared proper praise to receive apples from Reina-chan? Don't push yourself. What kind of praise can you think up with your weak vocabulary? Oh, well then, allow me to show you. After Satoko flashed me on, gave me a defiant look, she changed the tone of her voice suddenly. Hey, Rita, Oni-chan's lunch? Satoko thought it was yummy too. Satoko looked up at her poutily while talking cutesy. Well, how is that praise? That's not even persuasion by tears, that's persuasion by cuteness, isn't it? This is a Reina limited special skill. She blushed, her head spun, waving her around in circles. Don't fall for it, Reina! No! Resist! Of course, that was asking the impossible. Reina glomped Satoko and began rubbing her cheek against her. That sounds like someone I know. Cute! Satoko is so cute. Take you home. Stab. Push. Satoko was also presented with apple rabbits. After stuffing them into her mouth, she looked over at Mion and me again with that defiant gaze. It only took 5 seconds to take down Reina. That's unfair. She thinks she had such a trick. It's not fair. If it upsets you so much, why don't we reward Reina with some praise? Damn it. That was a dirty trick. First of all, it wasn't even praise. Satoko, you think you've won with that, don't you? How about I show you guys something much better than your superficial gimmicks? Okay. That sounds great, Mion. What kind of trick is it? K-chan's gonna be the one who does it. What? Wait, what? Why don't I have you show me then? The writhing of an old maid. The plan of attack she suggested was wicked. But it was the only thing we had to beat Satoko. What are they doing now? After sipping my tea, I started talking very naturally and calmly. Perfectly. It really is good, isn't it? It's all freshly made, right? No, actually, almost all of it was frozen. Which did you make fresh? Well, it's embarrassing. Do I really have to say, must I? From the synergy of boy plus handmade lunchbox, her expression had melted into euphoria. I already know. It's this one, isn't it? Reina turned an even deeper shade of red. The words, I can't believe it, practically written on her face. How can you tell? Of course, Mion had told me beforehand. It's been perfect so far. After acting like I was shy, I waited a beat. Next would be the finisher. It had your smell. Silence enveloped the area. Reina, face completely red, froze solid. With a small yelp, Satoko also blushed. Of course, I did too. I sure would like to try one of Reina's handmade apple rabbits. Or something. Even if this was all because I was competing against Satoko, it felt like I'd crossed the line by a good 9 yards, I think. And then, at that moment, it was a Tupperware container filled with rabbits. Please eat some, Keiichi-kun. There's plenty for you. Well, instantly, dozens of the apples were shoved into my mouth, knocking me over. Okay, say Keiichi-kun. My head was forcibly laid on her lap, and even more apples shoved into my mouth. While she was squealing, one apple after another was forced to her mouth. More and more apples. Oh, I want the apples. Oh, looks. I don't know if that counts as winning, man. I don't know if that counts as winning. That sounds like an L. Chan, that was a beautiful sacrifice. How's that, Satoko? Our complete victory, isn't it? I can't believe it's such trickery. It doesn't bother me at all. Satoko ground her teeth, mortified. We did it. I claimed victory as my consciousness drifted slowly away from me. No sacrifice too great for victory, apparently. At that time, Reina stopped her squealing as she suddenly realized something. Shen, you're not eating it? Did the salt water make it too strong, maybe? Looking over, Rika had pulled the toothpick out of the apple rabbit and placed her cupped into her cupped hands. She seemed to be at a loss of what to do. Poor Mr. Rabbit, I feel sorry for him. I want to save him. That was the sound of blood splurting from Reina's nose. Tonight I will take you home. Wait. Phrasing. She shook her head sporadically, her head wobbling back and forth. Then, coming back to her senses, she took all the apples around me, gathered them in with a whip, and fixed them up on a plate. Oh my goodness. Are they just gonna go? They're gonna compete this whole... I'm enjoying this, but... It feels very slice of life. It's very enjoyable. It's very weird. I was half expecting a plot, and there hasn't really been a plot so far. That said, I'm enjoying the character interactions. Although I feel like Reina is like straight out of an actual anime. Like they wrote this for the anime instead of the other way around, because you can really cleanly visualize all her actions, and she's a very expressive. She's like visually a very expressive person, but the game itself is not communicating that via text. It's not communicating that via the images. It's communicating that via text, which feels unusual. No, they're all just fine. Okay, here, I'll give them to you, Rika-chan. Okay. Rika-chan raised up Satoko's hand like a referee after having the plate of rabbits shoved to her. She whispered, "This is our victory." What? A comeback? Hey, hold on. I just don't care anymore. Thus, my sacrifice ended up in vain. Alright. It was a fun-filled, crazy day. I guess that's their scene change visual. Is the title card. It's the logo. So as soon as the sun began to set, the end of the day really did come quickly. Okay. Later, Reina and Kei-chan. See you tomorrow. Thanks for today, Mion. I had a great time. See you tomorrow? Yeah, I'm gonna agree with them. I had a good time. That was a fun picnic scene. Sakoto and Rika-chan went home as well. We parted ways with Mion and ended up just Reina and myself enjoying the evening air on our way home. It still looks like the morning. Thanks for coming today, Keiichi-kun. Is it fun? Hell yeah, it was. Lots of fun. Almost feels like a waste to go home now. Well, do you mind taking a little detour, maybe? A detour? Is it far? It's a bit of a walk, but it won't take long. Since we've been walking around all day, I must have seemed a bit tired. Not feeling like teasing Reina, I quietly nodded. Not teasing Reina? Hasn't that been like the entire... That's been like the first 5 scenes we've seen her in. Alright, we got a bridge. Across the bridge. By the river. Traversing a small path up a hill, the land suddenly stretched out before us. There, what looked like the remains of a dilapidated construction site came into view. They are building or tearing down something? A large heap of garbage was spread out towards the swamp. Probably illegal dumping. I recalled it being in the newspaper. It's been quite a while. I wonder what's here. When you say it's been a while, you mean the business you had here was with this garbage? It's not garbage. To me, it's a pile of treasure. Reina had already entered that well-known cute mode of hers. That meant there was something cute here. Oh, a new pile. I can't wait. She bounded up the unstable slope. I expect no less from a born and bred country girl. Wait, okay, whoa! My city-raised self was completely pitiful. It's alright, just stay there, Keiichi-kun. It won't take long. Reina kindly declined my accompaniment. Don't fall. Watch your step. Fine, I'm fine. This is nothing at all. Literally bounding up the heap of trash, Reina disappeared over the other side. I don't like being left behind, but still pretty tired from the whole day, so I ended up waiting. Without the lively Reina around, the surrounding area quickly fell to silence. The cry of the Higurashi gently cooled the air. Fairly exhausted, I began to feel a little sleepy, and just then the noise of scattering pebbles alerted me to someone's presence. Startled, I turned around. Standing there was a typical-looking photographer. He spied over at me through his camera. This guy's your typical photographer? This guy's jacked. What the heck? Look at this guy's muscles. This guy is literally nothing but muscles. Like his shirt. His shirt is less a shirt and more like a texture covering his skin. How is that typical? Then he's wearing like camo pants. This guy doesn't... And dog tags? This guy does not look like a typical photographer. His body was tanned and fit. But something about him seemed unreliable, like he had a bit of an aloof air around him. Ugh. Didn't seem like he was a bad guy in any case. Whoa. He surprised me. Although startled when I turned around, he overplayed his reaction. That was my line. I'm the one who's surprised here. My bad, my bad. I didn't mean to startle you. Are you from Hinamizawa? I gathered he wasn't from that question. Unfazed by my suspicious outlook, he introduced himself without my prompting. Tomitake. Okay. Freelance photographer. I come to Hinamizawa from time to time. I didn't ask you who you were. I agreed to photograph someone without consent, one would think. My bad, my bad. I mainly photograph wild birds. They can't refuse, you see. So, you're saying I'm the same as the birds? No, well, you see, that image of a young man in the twilight was just picturesque. I apologize for trying to take your picture without asking. The tilts are pretty slick. All that annoyance I felt for being startled just flew away as he buttered me up. I had no intention of hanging around with this guy, trying to get cozy with me, except it didn't seem like Reina would be back soon. But this older guy, Tomitake-san, he didn't mind my cautious responses and continued rambling by himself. Keiichi-kun, sorry to keep you waiting. I'm finished now. Reina popped her head out from one of the lower piles of garbage and waved her hand. You have someone with you? What would she be doing over there? That's what I want to know. Don't know. Maybe she's checking on that dismembered corpse that was out here long ago? Tomitake-san looked shaken up by that for a moment. I responded like I would if I was talking with Reina and the others. It was quite a disturbing incident. They still haven't found one of the arms. Keiichi-kun, sorry to keep you. You were waiting a while, I guess? I guess? I'd best leave you to love birds alone. Anyway, my apologies for startling you, Keiichi-kun. Fades out. Tomitake-san chortled suggestively, then disappeared into the twilight. Missing my chance to retort put me off a bit. Keiichi-kun, are you angry? Why? I wonder. It wasn't Reina's fault. I decided to brush it off for now. So, did you find anything? Come on, that'd be my first question, right? She went to the garbage heap looking for something. Clearly there's something here. How was it? Find a treasure trove? Oh yes, listen. You see, there was a Colonel Sanders doll. What? Colonel Sanders doll? Oh, that thing. Those statues they have in front of that fried chicken place? That life-size dummy? She found a doll of the Colonel. High quality stuff. You know you'd sell your favorite waifu figure for a statue of the Colonel. Yes, Colonel Sanders. How cute. I want to take it home. I couldn't tell how she decides what's cute or not, but well, she seems to want it. It's garbage, right? No one would care if you just take it home, right? It's become the base of another pile. I can't dig it out easily. There's no lampposts over there, so it'll get dark pretty soon. Reina seemed quite down about finding a treasure and not being able to bring it back. I'll help you out, to repay you for that delicious picnic you prepared today. Thank you. Birds heading home to roost. Proclaimed nightfall would soon be upon us. Keiichi-kun's gonna help. I can take Colonel Sanders home. Reina staggered along as if intoxicated in her dreamy state of mind. I tried asking her in a way that wouldn't take her out of her cheery state. Reina? Long ago, did something happen here? Seems like they're building a dam here. I don't know the details, though. I just wonder if you knew, an accident or something? I don't know. Her tone was disturbingly frank. It sounded more like a denial than an answer. I must have appeared rather dumbstruck. Reina quickly lightened her expression. Actually, I didn't live here until a year ago. Wait, am I seeing red flags here? Reina's new. Reina's new as well. The old school was demolished because reasons. Oh. You transferred here too? I was sure that... You see, I don't really know much before that. What? Sorry. Don't really know. Don't want to talk about it. That was the kind of feeling she gave me. Thinking about it, of course, it would be like that. This wasn't the type of thing girls enjoy talking about. It's quite a disturbing incident. It seems they haven't been able to find one of the arms. It's just like Tomitake said. Then I had a feeling only the Higurashi would know. Well. So, Higurashi are cicadas. So it's cicadas when they cry. Interesting. New tips. The Maibara Mansion. The dam site murder dismemberment. Jeez. Oh, that actually was a thing. Dang. Alright. Well, I guess we're gonna go through the new tips. There's no way we miss these. Maibara Manor. So, Jan, you're not stinking rich? What's this all of a sudden? Did I come to school in a limo before? How much do you get for a monthly allowance? About $10. That's a rather plebeian amount. His lunch is made of normal stuff. He isn't rich. What are they talking about? To be asked out of nowhere how much I get and then told it's a plebeian amount? Sorry. Brando seemed to pick up on my dubious expression and started giggling. Chan, your house, it's pretty big, yeah? The architecture has people all around Hinamizawa calling out the Maibara Manor. It sort of stands out. Maibara Manor? The house is so big, everyone's gossiping, wondering exactly how rich you are. I see. Now I get it. Well, the frame of it is huge. I see how it could cause some misunderstandings. For my deduction, I wagered they spent too much money building the house, and that's why they're now broke. Being broke, how very unfortunate. Rika-chan took pity on me and patted my head. Oh dear. I go from being treated like a millionaire to a beggar. Yeah, sorry for ruining your imagination. We aren't millionaires or poor. We're the image of a normal average household. You can't call it normal with that huge house. Entranceway is all granite and the gate is large enough for a large truck to get through. That's not normal at all. They do say the bigger your house, the more prosperous you are. The reason the house is big is because Dad's studio is in it too. There's a bunch of different workshops and lots of his works are hung up in different places. All of them are huge too. For those reasons, the family actually only uses a third of the house for day-to-day living. He planned it out so people and cars could come see the gallery he opens in the house someday. By the way, the entranceway Mion's talking about is for the studio and is normally sealed off. The entranceway that my Maibara family uses is a very plain and simple one. The interior is much different from how it looks on the outside as well. He actually has an excuse. His dad needs it for his work. I'd like a chance to explore Kei-chan's house. Although I'm surprised at the amount of floor space still. Claiming not to be rich, but having a home like that. What could be hidden there? Maybe there's something cute hidden. They probably had no money to purchase furniture. It's filled with Spartan rooms. There's carpeted rooms. I'd love to try rolling around on the floor. That'd be great. I want to roll around too. Their imaginations are just piling on. Carpeted rooms? Who wants carpet? Sometime in the near future, it wouldn't be too bad to invite them all to my house. Dad's a sucker for the ladies. He might even let them look around his studio. The cry of the Higurashi crescendoed, and as the sky towered over everything else. Alright, it was hot, but the air was clear. It smelled like the beginning of summer. Sounds lovely. Lovely time for a walk. Ooh, newspaper. The Damn Site Murder Dismemberment Newspaper Edition. From the June something, 1979 edition, so 4 years before our time. The Shishibone City, Okinomiya Police Station, June something, late at night. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 suspects were arrested on suspicion of murder and improper disposal of a corpse. The main offender has been added to the wanted lists nationwide. According to our sources, the 6 suspects were at the Hinamizawa Dam construction site workroom on the something at 9 p.m., where they are suspected to have assaulted and murdered the site overseer as a group, dismembering his body and hiding it. At 8, on the next day at 8 in the morning, a report was filed by the Shishibone City Hospital in which a male suspect alluded to having murdered Mr. X. When questioned at the police station, the individual confessed to the crime. Since a portion of the body was recovered at the location he gave, he was arrested that afternoon on suspicion of murder and mutilation of a corpse. The rest of the suspects were arrested the same day, but the main culprit is still at large. Police are currently on his trail. The motive is reported to be a drunken verbal dispute during which he killed the victim in a fit of anger. However, as there are multiple inconsistencies with their testimonies, the investigation is ongoing. Wait, the first guy came into the police station and confessed? And there's like 4 other suspects? And they all work together to hide the body? Yeah, it seems like drunken argument may not be the bottom of that case. Doesn't make a lot of sense if it's just drunken argument. Did this end chapter 2? Wow, that was fast. But an hour per chapter? Okay. Well, if it's going at this rate, at least we'll get an idea of how quickly we're going to tear through this thing. I feel like we're making some good progress. Right, I'm curious, since I only picked up the first 2, I think I only picked up the first 2 chapters. I'm not sure if it'll let us keep going, or if it's... Well, I'll just figure it out from here. Continue. Maybe we'll get the whole thing. I'm not actually sure. Let's see. What happens if I click next? I mean, it said end of chapter 2. It continues, okay. Colonel Sanders? Of course, that's right up her alley. I understand her wanting to take home Satoko and Rika-chan. But I can't understand the Colonel. What's so good about that 4-eyed geezer? And they really like calling people geezers. Probably better to hear from Rana, don't you think? She'll probably just say, because it's so cute, though. Does Rana often go to the construction site looking for treasure? Every now and then, she says she's going to have a look. A girl her age roaming around a garbage is, well... If Rana enjoys it, I think it's fine. What were they doing over there? Dam construction? It had been bugging me since yesterday, like an itch I couldn't scratch. It was canceled a long time ago. Everyone gathered together and fought against it. Hearing an ominous word like fought came from Rika's mouth startled me. That's right. It was unbelievable. They said Hinamizawa would be sunk into the reservoir and we had no say in the matter. I'm only able to be here because the protest succeeded. That definitely is people fighting to cancel the dam construction. Guess that might be why the city's half-abandoned people might have moved out, because they had to evacuate for the dam construction. The town's pretty vacant. That makes sense. Right? If the place is being torn down? Oh no. Sorry. I didn't keep it, did I? My deepest apologies, Keiichi-san. It took me a while to powder my nose. The Toko. Wait to use the can until you really have to go. It's a lot easier since it shoots right out. How dare you speak that way to a maiden of unparalleled beauty such as myself? Who is she calling a maiden? I can't actually get. If Satoko really was a maiden, she wouldn't have reacted like that. The usual hijinks ensued. Now then, gentlemen, in accordance with the rules of our society, I bring a point to discussion. Keiichi Maibara-kun wishes to be included as a member in our activities. What say you? Rana has no objection. Oh, I wonder if the likes of this peasant is up to the task. Me and Sakoto both approve. The 3 that Mion had queried voiced their approval. A unanimous decision. Congratulations, Keiichi-kun, Maibara-kun. I present you the honor of being allowed to take the entrance exam for our club. Start from the beginning. I didn't say I would join. What club is this? What our club does, you see, in order to cope with our complicated society, we perform various activities under different sets of rules. Sometimes they're in your favor, and sometimes they work against you. So I'm pretty weak. I'd prefer if you didn't single me out. Let's try to get along. You're so naive, Reina. The law of the jungle is survival of the fittest. It was starting to sound a bit sketchy. So what kind of club is it? To sum it up, it's a club where we play games together. Rika-chan was the only one to answer my question with a pertinent response. Basically, this club put Mion's hobby of collecting games to use. By playing the various games Mion hoarded every day. It seems, depending on the day, there were prizes for the winner or a penalty for the person who finished in last. It's a board games club. Okay, that seems fair. I'll make this clear. We aren't playing house here. Treat each win or loss as if your life depends on it, alright? What's wrong? It's just having fun. Don't make it sound so great. The first rule of our society. Aim only for first place. Going in half-assed because it's a game is not allowed. Praise the sun. Praise the sun, Mion. Rule number 2 of our society. For that reason, you're obligated to make all possible efforts. The way Satoko said it sounded like she was saying, use any means necessary. Is she like... it's like, is cheating only... Is it cheating is only bad if you're caught? Or is it I'm gonna make you so uncomfortable to proceed that you're gonna not do it and I'm gonna win for that? Is she gonna prank you, like is she gonna put like nails in your seat to try to make you leave during a game? I'm curious, what's she gonna try? This is Satoko, she already pranks you pretty hard. Of course, I'll do my best too. I'm pretty weak, but I'm trying my best. I knew what they were trying to say. In a game where everyone's aiming for the top, it's rather unsportsmanlike to play for fun. Alright, I too will go all out. With that, I was finally ready for the rite of initiation, my baptism into the club. A word of warning, Kei-chan. Reina can get pretty nasty. This initiation looks like it's gonna be rough. Mion began fishing around in the student lockers in the back of the room. They have the games here at the school? Well, it's club equipment, I guess that's fine. Complicated games will put Kei-chan at a disadvantage. So today we'll play a game you should be familiar with. How about a standard card game? Like Old Bachelor. Alright, let's do this. Can't really get into it unless there's a penalty. This time the loser will be sentenced to having their face drawn on. What do you think? It won't be oil-based paint, right? Oil-based. Face painting with oil-based paint? That's perfect. Doko cheered the idea on. She didn't even flinch at the thought of such a severe penalty. It seemed like she was raring to go. If it's gonna be like this, I can't lose either. I'll just cut the deck and start dealing. Old Bachelor is pretty much the same as Old Maid. There's only one difference, there's no Joker. In its place, one card is pulled out at the start, meaning there will be one card without a match left over at the end. You don't know which will end up being the Joker. It's a pretty thrilling game. Interesting. Okay. I'll take out the card now. Reina took out one card and left it face down on the table. Everyone stared at the card intently. It'll be obvious in the endgame. No way to tell at the start. But the rest of them were very serious. They didn't seem as relaxed as I was. They compared their cards to the one face down while gauging each other's reactions. It was as if they could see what the face down card was. No, it couldn't be. This deck is pretty worn out. No way, can everyone tell by the scratches what the card on the table is? Remember the second rule. Keiichi-san must try his hardest to win as well. Keiichi. A number of cards are quite unique, Keiichi-kun. Should be able to remember them pretty quickly. She said that so matter-of-factly. The cards are all marked? They're not even subtle. They're like, it might be entirely marked. Alright, best of luck. Suits me fine. Don't think a little thing like that could be your crush. I lashed out angrily, but it was rather obvious I was at a disadvantage. After all, they'd gone so far as to memorize the wear and tear for each card. It wasn't a simple game of Old Bachelor. If this was a test, they were playing with the answer... Whoa, that skipped. They were playing with the answer sheet right in front of them. Bring it, okay. I'll take the advantage of your carelessness and beat you at your own game. That baseless confidence would soon be crushed. You lose, don't you? How about I tell you your hand starting from the right? 3, 4. Don't tell him his hand. That's too much information. He might actually be able to derive something. 3, 4, 9, Jack, Queen. What? By the way, Bachelor's Jack of Diamonds. Why are you giving him so much information? I thought they were supposed to try as hard as they could to win. This is not try-harding if you're giving him help. But maybe it's because it's initiation. So the Bachelor's the Jack of Diamonds. I can tell what they are, even if you switch them around. I thought I was prepared, but for it to be this brutal, just overwhelming. Demons, you're all demons. Raina isn't a demon, are you? Sorry, Cage. This is the 3 of Hearts, isn't it? I'm out. I'm out. Not even a hint of mercy. She's like, sorry, you're dead. Even Raina, even Rika-chan. These club activities weren't to be trifled with. An alumnus of this club would definitely survive in the cruelest of situations. If our entire class had self-detonating collars strapped to their necks and were dropped into a death match on a deserted island, these guys would probably take to it like fish to water. I can already picture their joy as they hunt down each of their classmates. It's the lowest point system. The order itself dictates the points. Whoever has the lowest points total wins. Since Keiichi finished last, he has 5 points. There's already a 5 marked down on my scoreboard. I think it's unfair to Keiichi-kun if we don't use a new deck. It's fine, it's fine. Kei-chan's a man after all. He can turn the tables even if the odds are stacked against him, right? It's fitting for a lowly peasant to scamper home and soak their pillow in tears, don't you think? A petite hand laid itself on top of my head, which was trembling from uncontainable frustration. It was Rika-chan's. Keep on fighting. Alright, thanks to Rika-chan's words of encouragement, I was able to calm down. You need to be calm, especially when you're cornered. That's the power I could muster during the crisis. Think clearly, Keiichi, Maibara. Take your time, look at the cards carefully. It's just as Raina said, each card has its own distinct markings that made them stand out. Memorizing them should be pretty simple. Think about what you can do. Try everything in your power to improve your chances of victory. If they all have distinct markings, they might be the same per face card. Oh, great, Keiichi-kun, just like that. I covered the uniquely marked cards in my hands, or other cards, arranging them in such a way they couldn't be seen. What, the ripped corner should be 5, and I'm out. I couldn't let any of those precious hints slip by me. All information is a weapon. Then it was my turn. Makoto fanned out her cards for me. You see, I want the 7. Is it this one? I wonder about that. You won't know unless you take it. There was a bit of dismay in her expression. Oh no, she's bad. She's bad at hiding her expression. She has a terrible poker face. She's fucked. She doesn't want it taken. That kind of expression. I won't let that momentary lapse slip by me. I know. It's this one! Got it. 7 of spades. A cheer of ooh, Renault. What's this? The 7 should be the hardest one of all to tell apart. It wasn't from memorizing the markings. Those slight changes in their expression as I was selecting a card were enough. Can't hide it from me, Kei-chan. This mark means it's the 2 of diamonds. What? She was startled by her own misread. Of course, everyone else was too. It's rare Mii-chan gets a card wrong. No. Kei-chan, could it be you? They told them apart by different marks. That mark was a nail scratch, so I put a new one on it. Are you saying he disguised it as the 2 of diamonds? An impressive show of wit. Keiichi landed a clean hit. Nice, nice. It's great, Keiichi-kun. That was an incredible match, you know? Having defeated the Forerunner Mion, my brilliant battle left me ecstatic. But by total points, it was already set in stone. Mion would win, I would finish last. I laughed haughtily, selecting the tone of my voice carefully to get on Mion's nerves. Well, I'm gonna end up the loser, but I'm satisfied with one-upping Mion at the end. That should be the proverbial slap in the face to Mion, who is at the top already and assured victory. Even if Kei-chan gets first place this round, he'll still end up last overall. Don't you hate that? Of course I do. Of course I do. Let's have a duel. One chance. If you win, we'll swap first and last. How about it? You up for it? She fell for it. We're actually just playing children's card games here. Alright. Sounds good to me. A chance for an upset that wouldn't be possible without goading her into it. You're like, I'm losing. I don't want to play the punishment game. I'll just duel you for what? What does she get? One chance. Let's hear the rules. Mion discarded 2 cards from her hand and replaced one with the Joker card that was on the table, then shuffled the resulting hand behind her back. The card in my right or the card in my left? Kei-chan can guess which hand the Joker's in. If he can do that, he wins. When you turned around just now, you didn't pull out the Joker, did you? If you lose, I'll show you the card in the other. I'll show the card in the other hand. Is that okay? The other 3 gulped nervously at this unexpected turn of events. Alright, alright. You've got it! Mion grasped 1 card in each hand and thrust them out at me. First, I need to inspect them closely. The card on the right has no distinguishing markings. I couldn't tell which it was. Which one, I wonder? Keiichi-kun? Be careful. Of course. This is my chance for a big comeback! Looking closely at the card on the left, I saw a little wear. It wasn't one I hadn't seen before. That card is... I didn't let that bit from... The Toko slipped by me. Mion clucked her tongue. I didn't recognize the mark on the left card from the small number I had memorized. I didn't know what the left was, but I could tell from Stoko's reaction the card had already appeared during the game. Since it already appeared before, that meant it definitely wasn't the Joker. Ooh. Kei-chan thinks it's the one on the right. Will you choose that one then? Will you? The left card definitely wasn't the Joker. If I could trust that theory, I should have been able to declare the card on the right the Joker. Even without Mion's taunting, the one on the right was the most suspicious. Wasn't that a bit too rash to decide based solely on Satoko's reaction? More carefully. I remember. That mark, the left card, no doubt about it. The 7 of clubs. It's the 7 of clubs. I see. I've won. The card on the left is the 7 of clubs. That meant the card on the right was the Joker. And then just before my hand touched the right card, I froze. I expect no less from you. There's a wave of murmurs amongst the onlookers at my sudden right before I confirmed the right card was the Joker. What are we thinking? What could Keiichi said possibly be saying? I mean, the left one is... Shh, be quiet. Oh, what makes you so certain the right one isn't the Joker, Kei-chan? Mion let loose an unexpected question. Everyone else was baffled. I don't know what the card on the right could be, but I know the one on the left is 7 of clubs. Doesn't that leave the right one as the Joker? No way. This is a bet where she's 100% right? She fixes the match. One of them has to be the Joker, right? No. Yeah, one of those is the Joker, right? Keiichi has good intuition. Huh? Ricochet, what do you mean by neither of them is the Joker? Basically, the 7 of clubs, I discarded that by matching it with Mikoto's 7 of spades earlier. Everyone's attention snapped to the discard pile at the same time. The truth of the matter couldn't be discerned from the sloppy pile. So that means Mion pocketed one of the discarded cards and aligned it over the left card, and that means... I see, I get it. The left card is being disguised as 7 of clubs. Yep, that makes sense. It was the first time since the start of the match that a shadow ran across Mion's expression, and I didn't let that slip by. With a grand flourish, I declared it loudly. The Joker is the left one! It was an intense moment. That 1 second felt like an eternity for everyone there. And breaking the silence, the first one to speak was Mion. Being the first president of this club, I've been witness to a variety of performances. Kei-chan, yours is the best. The best of the best of the best. That was probably the greatest compliment Mion could give. Mion accepted her defeat, dropping the cards from both hands. My comeback victory! Rika-chan placed her hand on my head and began patting it, congratulating me on my victory. Congratulations, that was quite the interesting card game. Rika-chan is... Reina and Satoko gaped at us if they'd seen a ghost. What is it, Reina? It's not like I cheated or anything, that was fair and square. Rika only pet someone ahead to console them. What's the meaning of... At the moment, Reina let out a small shriek. Keiichi, how it was? You know, Keiichi, I thought you'd read into it that far. Everyone froze. No, it was just me. It was a gamble. If you just jumped to conclusions like a brat, I would have lost. It was the answer everyone was certain about. Mion picked up the card from the losing hand. Keiichi, you should know. You should take pride in this loss. She turned it around. It was the card that proclaimed the victor of this duel. The card under the 7 of clubs was the 2 of diamonds. It was a setup behind a setup. Man, she's playing legit mind games with them. God damn, Mion. That's some serious mind gaming. If I just picked the right one without reading into it too deeply. I, Mion Sonozaki, as club president, do accept Keiichi Maibara's membership into our club. As I slumped to my knees, dazed, everyone let out a round of applause for the excellent effort I made, despite my defeat. Damn, he got... Ooh. That's tough. That's tough. He even read into a disguised second card and still lost. Oh, that's brutal, dude. The match is over. Today's victor is me, Mion, and our exalted loser, Keiichi Maibara. Everyone made a commotion, applauding cheerfully. I felt I was bested, but I was so soundly beaten, it felt unexpectedly rather refreshing. Mi-chan pulled that little trick behind her back. I couldn't say anything. She's gonna do it again. When Keiichi stopped, the moment before touching the correct card, I thought he fell for it. He fell for it quite handily. What? Hey, wait. All of them knew from the start and still got so excited so earnestly. Ever got excited to make it more fun? You're all demons! That's right, every single one of them was reacting to bait him into making the wrong response. Wow. Oh, what an entry. Nice. Nice, guys. I love it. Now then, Kei-chan, it's time for your penalty. Since it's your first day participating, I'll go easy, okay? It'd be a problem if you refused to come to school. The other 3 members held down my arms and shoulders firmly. Mion approached, licking her lips. Her right hand went to pull something out of her pocket. That's a felt tip marker. It's large and oil-based. Okay, here we go. She took the cap off the marker and brought it slowly to my face while I was immobilized. No, no, no! I let out my death throes. Rest in peace, Keiichi. His face now probably covered in dicks. Or something like loser. Who knows? Soon as club activities are finished, Reina flew off. And I'm afraid I think that's where we're gonna have to fly off. I've quite enjoyed this first section of Higurashi. It's not what I was expecting, but it's quite good. And I think we're going to continue this, but I'm afraid we're going to have to continue it next time.